Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOARmania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This mania you don't want to miss. Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall.
Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, here on our Sunday morning tradition as it continues on into our 10th year. We're only 2 months from our 11th year anniversary and only about 4 months away from our co-host anniversary, 10 years on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Cuervo, who will be joining us here fairly quickly here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is week number 16 of the NFL, and it started off yesterday as we could not obviously get on. Just my schedule would not allow for me to be able to get on the show to do one for the 3 games that happened yesterday. So we actually did that show on Monday. And right now, as far as Cuervo and I, we are 3-0 so far as we picked all 3 games from yesterday. Let's take a quick look at what happened yesterday as the Houston Texans, they came in and they took on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And guys, this was a Jameis Winston meltdown, guys. I mean, whoa, bad. I mean, through the first half of this whole thing, Jameis Winston had 3 turnovers, and there were actually 4 turnovers in the first half. 3 of them came from turnovers from Jameis Winston. Winston only went 19-32 for 184 yards, so that ought to give you an idea of that whole situation. But turnovers after turnovers by Jameis Winston in this one made it quite ugly for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 4 interceptions out on the day. But the bad thing about this is, and we can go back and we can talk a little bit about it, as far as what I saw a Houston Texans team that completely proved that they're pretenders and not contenders in the AFC. And the real simple reason is why that they could not get anything done with those turnovers. In fact, that game was so close, it had no business being so close, but Houston pulls out a 23-20 victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After those 4 turnovers, we should be talking about how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were skull drug all over the football field. That did not happen. So since that did not happen, we saw how the Houston Texans reacted to those turnovers and how they were unable to successfully get some turnovers scores. That right there tells me a lot about this football team going into the playoffs. And I don't feel very – if you're a Houston Texan fan, you should not be feeling very comfortable about what's coming your way as far as that is concerned. So look out for that as far as where we are on the as far as the game is concerned. Now, other games that happened yesterday, there were 3, and you had to watch them all on TV. The New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills went at it. New England at Gillette, hard football team to beat at Gillette, especially when you talk about Tom Brady, especially if you're talking about 2 straight losses, especially talking about whether or not this is going to be a football team that can get out of the AFC. Now, you can sit here, and I want to tell you right now, folks that want to sit there and call Tom Brady washed up, you are completely have lost your mind. Now, there is no question that Sonny Clark has got some mad love for Tom Brady. I'll go back and look at it. But guys, the guy has 1 off season and everybody wants to put him out the pasture. The guy's at the end of his contract. Everybody thinks he's going to go to a different football team. Get off your drugs, okay? Tom Brady is going, first of all, nowhere, okay? Second of all, if he goes anywhere, it's into retirement. Guys, this guy's not going to play for another football team. He doesn't need to. He doesn't want to. And why should he? So that whole situation, as far as where Tom Brady is and Bill Belichick, is the biggest question out of the whole thing. Where are they going to end up? Will Bill Belichick be back? Will Tom Brady be back? Will Bill Belichick be back without Tom Brady? Will Tom Brady be back without Bill Belichick? These are all things that we are going to talk about, but I got news for you. It is a combo package. One goes, the other goes. But they all go into retirement. Tom Brady has nothing to prove about who he is and what he is. So as far as where they are, as far as the Patriots are concerned, could be a big question as far as an organizational place. Where are they going to be without a Bill Belichick? Will Bill Belichick still retire as a coach but still be head of player personnel? All these kind of things that are coming into play. And those will be the biggest questions that are going on for this football team. Now, I talked on the other day about guys that were football guys that were going into football operations. There's only one that really can do it and probably do it with any kind of without any kind of problems, and that would be Bill Belichick, because he's been doing it all along. And we talked about Bill Parcells, who tried to do it. That didn't work. We talked about Holmgren. That didn't work. And then you talk about the situation with Tom Coughlin. That definitely didn't work. So, but with Bill Belichick and what he does and how he does things, that would work. And it's been working. He's really the head of football operations anyway, as far as the New England Patriots are concerned. So he'd be about the only one that could do that. So look out for that one. But the New England Patriots go ahead and get the victory, which was no great big surprise to me, 24-17. The Buffalo Bills were in this one until the end, which is always good as far as the Buffalo Bills are concerned. Now they take the loss here, and their record is not what you would hope for as far as what not necessarily a fan, but I would love to see them be able to win this division, but it didn't happen as the Patriots wrapped up their 11th consecutive AFC East title. So look out for that one. And last time that didn't happen, and Matt Castle was at the quarterback position. And so you look at that whole, got to go back that far. So big time stuff there as far as that's concerned. Guys, Tom Brady is not washed up at all. And if you want to think he is, you could go ahead and think so, but you would be so far off the mark. Listen, he may not have had the biggest year this year. He may not have made the Pro Bowl this year. He may not have done a lot of things as far as that is concerned, but I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of football teams that would grab up a 42-year-old quarterback who could do what he is doing, as he is right now. He's thrown for 3,836 yards on the season, 22 touchdowns compared to only 7 touchdowns. Now, here's where the problem is. This guy gets sacked all the time. 26 sacks. But back in 2014, he took 36. Back in 2015, he took 34. And so even the year before, 2016, 28. They get to the quarterback. Now, on 2017, 2018, there were only 23 and 25 respectively, but 34 this year. As far as that, for interceptions, I marked that. I gave you the wrong stats. 2015, 36 sacks. Hold on. No, I was right. So I was reading in the right area. They just moved everything when I changed the page. So 26 sacks this year. Last year, 21. So 5 more since last year. In 2017, it was 35 sacks. So in 2016, 15 sacks. 2015 was 38 sacks. So Tom Brady gets sacked. And he's a guy that still has a way of figuring out. And if you think for 1 second the New England Patriots are just all washed up, you need to go and re-examine what is headed their way. Okay, because they have been actually getting better. Now, they had dropped those 2 games, but I'm telling you right now, I think there is something inside of Bill Belichick says, hey, if we lose a few, so what? It don't matter. We've already got this thing wrapped up. They didn't even have to win this week over the Buffalo Bills in reality. Okay, they would have only had to win next week, and they would have wrapped it up. So you can look at that thing the way that it is. But I will tell everybody that's out there, watch out, because this is a football team that doesn't need anything at all. So watch out for that. Then the game that ended, San Francisco was put on the, I'll tell you right now, the Rams gave them a run for their money and actually had the lead through most of this game as well. So the Rams actually, they really needed that game because they're, as far as the standings are concerned, fighting for the second wild card against the Minnesota Vikings. And Minnesota, if they win today, they will go ahead and they will wrap up Monday night against Green Bay. They'll wrap up that final wild card in the NFC. So when you take a look at the standings, and that's what we'll do as soon as this thing loads up on my computer, we'll look at the standings in the NFL. And let's start with the AFC East. New England, obviously, they've went ahead and they wrapped up the division. Buffalo has got a playoff spot. They are 10-5. This is the first time they've been in double-digit wins like forever. So you could take a look at that and see what they are doing. And listen, this is a football team that could be in real contention next year in the AFC East. The Jets out of it, Miami. Jets 5-9, Miami 3-11. Over in the North in the AFC, Baltimore wrapped up the division a couple weeks ago. They are 12-2 out on the season, followed by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is still in the battle for a wild card with Buffalo. So that having been said, Buffalo is wrapped up, by the way, one of the wild cards. There's only one more wild card left in the AFC. And the team that they're fighting, the team that is fighting for it, one of them is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 8-6. Cleveland 6-8, 1-13 are the Cincinnati Bengals. Over in the South, with the victory yesterday, Houston wrapped up their division at 10-5. They are all set and ready to go into the playoffs. They will host a wild card game on Saturday after the final week of the NFL, Week 17. Another team fighting for a wild card, the Tennessee Titans. They are fighting for a wild card. They are 8-6 as far as that is concerned. Then over in the West, Kansas City wrapped up that division at 10-4. Oakland 6-8. Denver 5-9. Los Angeles 5-9. By the way, Indianapolis 6-8, 5-9 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, that being said, when you look at the games that are happening today, Tennessee, they need to get a victory. They got to continue winning. So let's see. Tennessee, where's my schedule? Where's Tennessee? Tennessee is at home against New Orleans. Tough game. We'll be talking about that. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they are taking on the Jets, and that could be an easy game for them depending on how or why they show up. So that one is huge as well. All right, so back to the other standings. Go over to the NFC. We'll talk about the North first. Green Bay, 11-3. Minnesota has not wrapped up that wild card right now. They are 10-4. Chicago out of it, 7-7, 3-10-1 for the Detroit Lions. Over in the South, the New Orleans Saints have wrapped up their division 11-3. Tampa Bay taking the loss, dropped to 7-8. Atlanta 5-9, and so is Carolina. Over in the West, San Francisco is 12-3. Seattle is 11-3. With the victory yesterday, the San Francisco 49ers slipped in front of Seattle in the standings. That's based upon winning percentage. That will change if Seattle does get the victory as they play Arizona at home. Los Angeles is still in the battle for the NFC wildcard, as they did take the loss yesterday. They dropped to 8-7, and Arizona at 4-9. So if Minnesota gets a victory today on Monday Night Football, they'll wrap up that wild card. In reality, let me just take a look at this really quick. It will explain it. Actually, that if Minnesota, I'm trying to figure it out. The standings, the way they have it, are incorrect. With that loss, in reality, with the Rams, the best they can finish is 9-7. So they are out of it. So that would put Minnesota in the actual wild card spot. So the wild card set up in the NFC with Minnesota as well as the Seattle Seahawks or San Francisco 49ers. That being said, over in the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles. They're both 7-7. This one here will wrap up the division for one of those teams. Mark that. Let me rephrase that. If Dallas wins, they wrap this thing up. If Philadelphia wins, it goes into week 17, and then we'll figure that part out with all the tiebreakers and everything else later. New York Giants and Washington Redskins both 3-11 out on the season. So that's where we are as far as the standings in the NFL right now. So watch out for that, and happy holidays for everybody here from me, Sonny Clark, as well as Cuervo when he gets in here as we are moving on into the holiday season. Thursday is, I think it's, mark that. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is Christmas. And then we go into the bowl games for the college bowls and everything else like that. Cuervo may have a college bowl show on. We'll figure that part out a little bit later on, if and when that he will have that show and get that all squared away. So when we bring in Cuervo, I got to go over here. So we'll bring him in as soon as he is ready to rock and roll. He'll take up half the screen right there, bringing him in. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. It's the NFL. Let's talk a little NFL news before we go into our first break, and then we will jump into the games because we have got a lot of them going on. Robbie Goulds eliminates the Rams yesterday with the field goal. So that is huge out there. So that is huge. Now, as far as what's going on, some of the news that are out there, Chicago Bears have ruled out tackle Akeem Hicks for their game against Kansas City on Sunday night because of a dislocated elbow. I don't think we'll see him for the rest of the season. No need to put him in that situation. The Philadelphia Eagles, Darren Sproles, have decided to retire, ending a 15-year career for the three-time Pro Bowl player. Sproles announced the decision on Sunday on the Eagles website. Now, that being said, I don't know, is he at the end of the year, or is it he went ahead and retired? I'm looking at it, has decided to retire Saturday, spending the past month on injured reserve. So he wants to be out there, but he hasn't spent a lot of time. So since being on injured reserve, the retirement for Sproles, he is all done. Dak Prescott says he's good to go in the division clinching game against the Eagles. He has been limited in practice all week as he continues to deal with the sprained AC joint in his shoulder, which he suffered against the Rams last Sunday. So despite all that, the injury and everything else, and as well as the injured index finger, the Cowboy quarterback is ready to go. And so that situation, you're going to have to look out on how Dak can throw the football and everything else. The Patriots quarterback, Jason McCarthy, is back for the New England's game yesterday. So that was huge news for them as they move into the playoffs. They needed to get that guy back. So also another report. Now, this happened before the game. The Buccaneers have announced that Jameis Winston will be back for the 2020 season. But again, that was before the game. I mean, that was a god-awful game. And they announced that so he could probably be relaxed going into that game so he could have a good game. Well, that didn't help. So also some other news that are out there. Steelers wide receiver Smith-Schuster is hopeful to play against the Jets. And by the way, in the locker room for the Denver Broncos, a lot of guys are getting sick. Drew Lock, Dalton Reiser, and also tight end Noah Fant. All of them are sick. So I don't know how that's going to affect their football play. It don't matter. But for Lock, you just want to see him play well. So that is huge. Also, after the game, Seahawks defensive lineman Al Woods has been suspended for 4 games, violating the league's policy for performance-enhancing drugs. So look out for that. That is something that is there. Also, the Panthers and Colts, the Panthers interim coach Perry Finwell has announced that Will Grier will make his first NFL start on Sunday against the Indianapolis Colts. And so that whole situation is there. Now, the 5 Super Bowl winning coaches, finalists are in the Hall of Fame. So look at that. 5 Super Bowl winning coaches and NFL champions, Roger Craig, Drew Pearson, Donnie Shell are among the finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That goes on along with Holmgren. So lots of things going on there. That's the quick news around the NFL as we get started here on a Sunday morning. Of course, our Sunday morning traditions continues on here. By the way, I just want to put this out here. Okay. We have been on air for a very long time. Okay. And what has really got my goat here this morning, and I'm going to put this out there for a show that is out there that has decided that they thought That Being Said would be a good name for their show. I've known about this for about 3 or 4 weeks, and I've been trying to find a way to say it without sounding so childish, without sounding very insulting, without sounding what's going on. I'm just going to give you a quick background that those that don't know what I have done throughout the years, whether it is in radio, whether it be for play-by-play or all this, or back in the day when I wrote for the Seattle Seahawks. I wrote for them for 2 years over on Bleacher Report. We started up the Couch Potato Sports Show many years ago. That being said, just kind of went into its infancy and just made its way out there. Been on the air for a long time. With that being said, I have made mention on this show. The reason why this show is named the way it is because of my brother. My brother just was laughing at me one day. He says, you guys, on your show, you should, you say that being said a lot. I said, well, you know what? Sounds like the name of a great show. And that's what we did. We named our show on Sunday morning and Saturday morning called That Being Said. Many years have passed. Now, back to the time when I was writing with the Seattle Seahawks, there is a group outside of Seattle that has decided to take on the name of this show. Now, granted, they are not on every week. Now, granted, I don't know what kind of show they have. I'm not going to sit and watch a show called That Being Said unless it's me going back and looking at what's going on for our show. Okay. Our show has over the years. Okay. We're talking almost 11 years, 10 years, 10 months of just learning how to go about new technology, how to insert technology into our show, and all this other stuff. It took a long time to develop, as internet radio was the wave of everything, still is in reality, but obviously with the form of video, for some reason people want to watch us, which has expanded the show to where it's at. And there's going to be a lot of learning curves, but there's a show. And if you go into Facebook, put in That Being Said, you're not going to find us. Okay. Our show is under the Couch Potato Sports Show and under Sonny Clark. But if you put That Being Said in Facebook, you'll see a group out of Seattle. These are people that I've known. Now, I'm just going to make this one statement and make it once. And I don't want anybody getting on them. We have been in this business a long time, guys. We are not going away. Okay. We've done more shows than you. In your existence, we've done more show than your existence. Now, if you want to go ahead and find a show and get a little originality on yourself, go ahead and do so. You want to keep That Being Said, that's fine. But when you put That Being Said in a Google search, you don't find your show. You find mine. That right there might just say a little bit about your show, but don't necessarily appreciate it. But at the same time, there have been a lot of people that have tried to steal from the show and try to make a show and didn't make it. So that being said, that is where we are. That being said, that's the name of this show. That being said, we ain't going nowhere. That being said, you'll be long gone before I am. And we'll just leave it at that. So what we're going to do, I had to get that off my chest. It's been bubbling underneath my chest for a very long time. But what we're going to do as we are waiting for Cuervo, he is again fashionable. He's probably putting on his face. And I mean that now, because with us doing the video more so than the radio, he can call in looking like he just got hit by a Mack truck, and can't do that now, especially with us doing the video. So we are going to take a quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, folks, we'll get into the first games that are on there. We got a lot of them to cover. We'll start without Cuervo. We'll jump back in with Cuervo when and if he's able to get on, and then we'll get it all squared away. So we'll do that. We'll take our first break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said, we'll be right back.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great taste in barbecue, Come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Landon Huey, and 19 Ministries.
One of the things we want to do is Rowlett Revival, and we know that there are a lot of hurting and broken people across the city. Bring in a guest speaker, and he's just going to share the love of Christ, and we want to connect people in the city up with churches.
So make sure you contact Landon Huey at 19 Ministries at 972-835-8665, or check them out on the web at 19ministries.org or uniterowlett.org.
Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOARmania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This mania you don't want to miss. Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design. Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com. Go Custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett, where we listen to our customers' needs. And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radios. Happy holidays for those that are out there giving us a watch here on a Sunday morning. Those that are listening on That Being Said on Blog Talk Radio, simulcast over there. So that being said, our situation, what we're going to do, just so everybody know right now, as you can see, I moved a little bit, got a little bit different background. So I don't have my bells and whistles that I normally have on a Sunday morning. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We're just going to get right into the games that are all set and ready to go for us here in the NFL. And we are going to go ahead and start with the first game that's on tap. The Baltimore Ravens are at the Cleveland Browns. And this one here is really kind of one of those games that, you take a look at it and go, well, who cares? Well, yeah, who cares? Baltimore's wrapped up their playoff spot and everything else. Now, there's been a lot of talk on whether or not that Lamar Jackson's going to stay in the lineup. There's been a lot of talk about if he should stay there, should he be there, not. And let me just put it out there. And this is just a personal opinion, as the Baltimore Ravens, who are 12-2, they're first in the AFC North, take on the Cleveland Browns that are last in this division at 6-8. Two things come to mind when I think about this game. Number one, you don't want to risk your guy. That's number one. So in Sonny Clark's mind, you take a very huge look at that and ask yourself that main question. Do you take the chance with this guy in a meaningless game? And parts of me say no. If this was any other quarterback, I'd probably say no. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and say Lamar Jackson needs to at least play in this game. How long he should play, I guess that should be something that puts it out there. Maybe until they can secure the win and then go ahead and throw RG3 in there for a while. That's my thinking when I look at it. And they have not said anything at all on whether or not that they are going to make a change and not have Lamar Jackson in the football game. But all you got to do, go back to, I guess it was late September, 40-25. That is one of those games where you take a look at it and you have to ask yourself the question. Now, when the Ravens and Browns played 12 weeks ago, Lamar Jackson was showing hints of being able to be the guy. And the Browns looked like a legitimate team. So, but things have drastically changed since that game for Baltimore and Cleveland. So after losing 40-25, a loss that the Ravens suffered on September 29th, they've ripped off 10 in a row since then. Jackson has turned into who he is, considered the MVP candidate. Baltimore clinched the division title, and they can wrap up the number one spot in the AFC playoffs with a win today over the Browns. And that is one of the reasons why you're going to see Lamar Jackson in this game for a very long time. Cleveland, now it's Cleveland. They just have different faces. And the rumor out there is that Kitchens can get this victory. He'll probably remain the coach. Well, probably is one word. Will be the biggest question of it all. And I hate this game because you don't know what kind of Browns team is going to, show up. Right now, they're clinging to the postseason, drought that they've been on since 2002. The fan base, you can say whatever you want, are all over Freddie Kitchens, and he's fighting for his life. And then you take a look at a lot of other things in this one. When the Browns scored 30 points in the second half and rocked the Ravens, yes, the Browns were one of those two losses. And now, in reality, when they beat the New England Patriots, it kind of just put that, game that they lost to the Browns in the back rear view mirror a long time ago. So you can say whatever you want, but for the game that's happening on today, it could either have, people are saying they can go ahead and remain the head coach, or they will go ahead and send him packing. So last week was the last week that Cleveland was hanging on for a playoff spots as they took the loss in Arizona. So you look at that. So now, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are put out in the public, but Freddie Kitchens out in public said he didn't question the effort of his football team or his running back, Kareem Hunt. So some think that Kareem Hunt quit on the team. So Baker Mayfield had some, kind of strong words, whether or not they were warranted or not, probably shouldn't have been. But Kareem Hunt has been in a play, has been a guy that these guys picked up, and they, kind of wanted to have and use him, and they just didn't get what they wanted from him. Then you got the drama with your wide receiver and their quarterback. You can sit here and say Odell Beckham says he wants to say. You can sit there and listen to it. Obviously, you don't know what's going on in the mind of Odell Beckham, but the speculation is warranted that he wants out, depending on who you want to believe. If you want to believe the lip service maybe that you're getting from Odell Beckham Jr. or the actual quote unquote sources reporting that he wants out. So it just depends on what it is. Take a look at some of the other things in this game. The Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, another great season for him. He's already set a single season mark for touchdown catches by a tight end there in that franchise with 8. Needs only 97 yards to pass Todd Heap. And listen, guys, that guy's a stud. That guy's been there for many years before that. So you look out for that, passing Todd Heap, that's something there. Now, you take a look at it. You take a look at this game. Tempers got out of control last time that they played as Odell Beckham fought with Marlon Humphrey, who took a punch from Odell Beckham before, flinging him to the ground, jamming his fist into Beckham's throat. So that cost him, I think it was $15,000. I think. Check it up. It was around $15,000 that he got fined for that. So, but it's football, and that's football each and every week. So you take a look at that. Terrell Suggs and Smith went into free agency, and the Ravens weren't expecting a lot of things after they lost them. But, now it's just Matthew Judron who has picked up on the sacks area. So Baltimore has 37 sacks without Suggs, who signed with Arizona and setting the sack record there. But that having been said, that's just the way this is. And oh my goodness, I don't know if he wants to come in. He's laying in bed. He says, bring him on. It is the good old boy himself, Brian Tarvin. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I feel great just laying down here. I just wanted to show you something I never get to do. So here
joining us on the show and getting us all set, and you're coming in perfect there. So I'm glad to join us. So looking at this game, Baltimore and Cleveland, I mean, you get a little bit of excitement. Baltimore goes ahead and wraps up the number 1 seed if they get the victory here in the AFC. And there's something to be said about that. You get the week bye and the home field advantage through the playoffs. I don't say a lot in Cleveland. I just kind of went through everything, but just looking at this football team, it's a team in disarray with the team that had a lot of potential to start off the season.
Yeah, and you remember, Sonny, they beat Baltimore pretty bad in Baltimore
they did
last time. So
yep.
If there's any motivation, this is it, to come back and show. If they lose to Cleveland right now, I start to worry about Baltimore a little bit. But going on the road, knocking them out, being able to take week 17 off and rest your players. I like this Baltimore team and what it's doing, but still, until somebody dethrones Tom Brady, man, this is his division, this is his conference.
Yeah, definitely. And you say whatever you want about him. I'm not a great big fan of him as a quarterback. I don't think, and I know it sounds stupid when I say it, I don't think he's a good quarterback. I think he's got some skills that lack for the fact that he's not a good quarterback, that obviously being his legs and everything else. But at the same time, for what's going on and what they got to go, this is a football team that if they are going to win a Super Bowl, they better do it this year, because sooner or later, someone's going to figure that thing out.
Well, it reminds me of the 2015 Panthers, Sonny. You remember how hot they were with
Yep.
Cam? Cam won the MVP. They cruised through the regular season, even in the playoffs. And then once they got to the Super Bowl, they hit a brick wall. I think that's what this team's going to experience, honestly. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think somewhere along the playoffs, they're going to get bitten because Lamar Jackson's accuracy downfield is not good.
Oh, don't.
You know the playoffs is another season. It's not regular season football anymore. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see who shuts them down. And will it be an AFC team or will it be like the 49ers?
Yep.
Somebody will get them.
Yeah, hopefully, as far as, if you're going to stop the guy, it obviously has to be an AFC team to stop him from getting into the playoffs. So that'll be very interesting. Will the week off help them? I don't know. But I'll just throw this out here really quick, Tarvin. When I think about a guy that is who he is, this is a guy I think has to continue to play. I don't think you can really – it's called momentum. And you keep this guy going. You take him off the football field, I think that affects him.
Yeah, and I hear people saying that the bye week will be good. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think you play him in week 17 up to a certain point. Even if you win today, you don't stop because once it turns, you're not going to get it back. So I'm interested to see Tom Brady versus this team. It's going to happen.
Yep.
Tom Brady's going to be in Baltimore.
Yep.
And everybody's going to pick Baltimore. They're going to think Brady's dead, like I've done many times, man. I'm the world's worst.
Don't do it, Tarvin.
until they can beat New England, and I don't care where it's at, or even Kansas City for that matter. Don't count them out.
Yep.
I just don't think Baltimore. I mean, they've had a great regular season. They deserve the number 1 seed, but I don't think that matters at this point where you're playing this game at, whether it's Kansas City coming to you or New England. I just don't think Lamar Jackson's good enough to beat either one of those teams.
We'll have to
playing for all the marbles.
Yeah, playing for something besides regular season victory. I get exactly what you're saying. And I click a button. Oh, my gosh. There he is. It's Cuervo on a Sunday morning. All three P's in the pod, as I like to say. How you doing? Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing? Tarvin over there just chugging some Mountain Dew in bed. Nothing better than that.
Wells is on the bed with me. I'm taking a 20-minute break, and just wanted to join you guys. Merry Christmas.
Definitely.
Yeah, likewise, guys. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Good to see you, Cuervo. Now, Cuervo, as you said, earlier today, we should have maybe taken a test on it. Maybe we should, because you're coming in hot. So if you remember how to take that boost off, take the boost down a little bit on that microphone. If you can just do it right while you're right there and just continue talking until you do it. Take the boost off of it because you're coming in a little hot. That having been said, while he is doing that, we'll talk to Cuervo. He doesn't need to look at anything. Baltimore gets the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. I'm obviously on the Baltimore Ravens. What are you looking at when you take a look at this game, Cuervo? Just off the top of your head.
I mean, Baltimore's playing tremendous football right now, and I really there's very few teams I think that can really slow them down just by the way that they're, offensively how they're operating. So I don't see them really having much issues today. I think that when it comes to, for example, like. Because I know Tarvin's big on it. If you plan on putting money on this game, I don't know that I would, just because, if it's a situation where Baltimore's up big in the first half and then they start sitting guys out, because this is the time of the year that teams will start doing that, and it could allow them to get back in the game. So just little things that I'm looking at as far as this game's concerned.
Okay, and now we heard pretty much everything that you said. I don't know if it's your Bluetooth that's probably given the problem with the connection or whatever the case may be, but we're getting you in and out. Your mic, you you've turned down the mic. We can tell that hot went away. So I don't know if you can go ahead and switch that and switch to your earphones without the Bluetooth or anything else like that. That might be better for today based upon what I'm getting with the Bluetooth. So, but before you do that, who are you going to pick in this one? Are you going to go ahead and take the Baltimore Ravens, who probably should win this game, but will be the next question.
Will they? What do you mean, Sonny? Will they what?
Do you think that Baltimore will go ahead and get the victory like they should, or do you think the Cleveland Browns are going to get them because we're not going to get 100% of the Baltimore Ravens this week?
No, I think we'll get 100% of the Ravens this week because there's still something to play for.
Yeah,
with the whole number one seed and all that. So I think you are going to get a full dose of the Ravens today. So yeah, I'm definitely taking Baltimore to win this game.
And Charvin, who do you have on this one? You're going to take the Cleveland Browns in the upset, maybe not getting the full, or you're going Baltimore?
I can't pick Baker Mayfield and his ratty ass and Freddie Kitchens. I take Baltimore in a revenge game, and I know Cuervo said it's late in the season, resting people. I think they're going to take it personal in this one. I think Baltimore, the way they get up for this game, Cleveland embarrassed them when they played them.
Yeah, they did.
So I think today Baltimore returns the favor in Cleveland. They rest the guys next week. I think that's a mistake, but they rest the guys next week, and then they take care of business. But they will lose in the playoffs. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Well, interestingly enough, there's been some rumors out there that there is a little hammy tweak going on as far as Lamar Jackson is concerned. So they're going to have to definitely watch out for that, because if they run this thing and they run him, could be something that will come back and bite him in the butt a little bit later on if we're not going to get the full.
I don't think they're going to have to run it today. I don't think they should. Just run the ball, run your offense. Do not run him. If he runs, get the hell out of bounds. Don't take any hits. Don't try to stretch anything, and they'll be fine. But you're right. If they get him injured right now, Harbaugh is going to be under a lot of fire, because this season's special right now. It's a 2015 Panthers season.
Well, think about that. You made mention of it. I'll go back to you, Tarvin, because you didn't get an opportunity to talk about this. I was talking about Lamar Jackson saving in reality Jim Harbaugh's job, because he was on his way out the door just as quick as Flacco was, and Lamar Jackson saves his behind again. Obviously, with the success of this season, he bought next season. He's going to be the coach of that football team. Might even be 2 seasons, depending on what they're going to do with it. Am I thinking Lamar Jackson saved Jim Harbaugh's career there in Baltimore?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm sure he's getting a Christmas present this year.
Yes, at least from the team anyway. Yeah, definitely. So we are here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We're going to talk about them there. How you doing? Let's get a sound check there from Cuervo. How you doing, Cuervo?
Sonny, I'm here, my friend.
Okay, very good. Still getting a bad connection. I wonder if it's something with that. And there he is, Rodney D. James, one of our sponsors of the show, joining in. Ho ho ho, Mr. Santa, right there. So good to see Rodney James on the Sunday morning. All right, what we're going to do then? We're heading to the next game that's up on the thing. Speaking of it, and I don't know how long. Tarvin can hang out with us, but Carolina goes into Indianapolis this week, and in a game that really doesn't mean anything for anybody, and I hate these games, especially when you're trying to pick them. So that being said, I don't know what we're going to end up getting. We don't see a good quarterback in what's happening in Carolina. We got Jacoby Brissett having a halfway decent season. Again, give that guy some time, with getting some real film. I'm worried about him. Go ahead, Tarvin.
Carolina's terrible, man. I mean, they're actually playing. For some reason, his name slips my mind. What's the quarterback from West Virginia that just got drafted, the rookie? I can't remember his name. He started today over Allen. So Carolina's going in with quarterback, going on the road against Indy. Indy's going to wax Carolina.
That's what I'm thinking as I look at it. The Indianapolis, right now, these two teams have to stay motivated for the last 2 weeks. And I don't know how much of that you're going to get with the Colts being 6-8. They don't really expect to, bring it all, heading into this one. A lot of injuries as well for the Colts going into this one. And the Panthers right now, they're just Kyle Allen, won 4 of his first 5 starts, replacing Cam Newton, and then right down the season after that. So that whole situation again is something that you look at as far as what it is. It's not the same old Panthers team that can come back and rip off 6 or 7, or in cases 8 or 9 games in a row in order to make a playoffs. That's not this team anymore, Cuervo. So looking at this one, what are you looking at, especially with Christian McCaffrey, as he gets the Pro Bowl selection, should have got it. And that being said, when you look at a guy that is like Christian McCaffrey, as much as we want to see him, the Panthers literally have nothing to play for except losing McCaffrey for a long period of time to injury. I don't even think I put him out on the football field. And I know we're not going to see that because that's not the kind of guy he is. And I just lost Cuervo. I got him right back. There he is. So I don't know if he jumped out and then came back in. Are you there, Cuervo? Can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're still bouncing around with that that atypical Bluetooth sound going. Yeah. And that's where it is. So I'll shoot that to you then, Tarvin. Christian McCaffrey, he's your future for this football team without question. What they do at the quarterback position, they still got some work to do, whether it's in the draft or whether they're going to go ahead and bring on a veteran to take over this football team and try to move them forward with a new coach and everything else. What is the future of the Panthers as far as that's concerned?
Well, right now, McCaffrey and Kuechly should not be on this field.
I agree.
You want to lose the next. I hate to say this because it's not what I like to do, but the smart thing to do is lose these 2 games, get the best draft pick possible, maybe even trade those picks for some late first, second round picks, and build that offensive line up a little bit. Your quarterback, you can find somebody to fill in, but they've got a lot of components around this team to be able to make a run eventually. But you're not going to do it with Allen, and you're not going to do it without Cam. So you're going to have to go find somebody in the draft maybe. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. You want to be as high up as possible to get one, and I think that's what you do.
Yeah,
don't get your stars hurt. You let them rest. You bring them back 100%, and you try next year again.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, but that's not usually in the football team or players' mentality. But at the same time, when you look at where if football play, and I hate to say this because it really sounds bad when I say it, if football players were smart, they would not put themselves in that position. They would not put themselves in a place where they're going to get hurt, and or if they're they don't worry about the future and how many years to come, especially like a Christian McCaffrey. He seems like a guy that knows that right now he is this franchise. Him and Luke Kuechly are the franchise right now, and they could ill afford to lose either one of them. That's why I agree with you. Neither one of them should be out on the football field right now and taking that risk.
Like bowl games in college, these bowl games, unless you're in a playoff, doesn't matter. You're a first-round guaranteed lock. Look at Tua. Getting hurt cost himself millions of dollars. It's the same philosophy to me. It's just you're already you're employed already. You have a contract. If I own your contract, your ass is not getting on the field. I don't care what you want to do.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100% as far as watching your guys, watching your players, and making sure everybody is ready to rock and roll. How much longer are you able to hang on with us, Tarvin, before you're out?
I'm going to have to be out for a few minutes. I'm going to try to jump back. How long are you on? Until 1 Eastern?
Well, we're up until kickoff. So, 1 Eastern. So, if you hop on, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break because we're going to have to hit some of our sponsors, and then bring Cuervo back and get him back. Hopefully, he'll sound a little bit better. But always good to see you, my friend.
too, buddy. I'll talk to you in a little while, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas if we don't see you here. He is Brian Tarvin, host of Weigh In Sports Talk. Always like to see him, and I'm glad that we are able to get him on. And just to throw out a lot of things that we're going to be doing here on the Couch Potato Sports Show is that the Couch Potato Sports Show is in mind and getting ready to expand. And guys, just to let you know, this platform that we have picked up here has been really huge for what we do here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We have reached a lot more people with the video portion of it. They like the video portion of it, and started while we were doing Rowlett football, people wanting us to be on air and watch us call a game. For what reason, I don't know. It has taken off. It's been something that's really good. And what I'm going to end up doing is sooner or later, Brian Tarvin doesn't get the opportunity to pull in and do a show all the time, but we're going to try to get this and put this all up underneath one area and try to bring, some hosts who can't get on as much as they want to. Hosts, bring them on so we can try to get their show out there, get them out there. And that's one of the things that I'm working on slowly to bring the Couch Potato Sports Show to have many other subsidiaries of it to bring in up on the Couch Potato Sports Show, whether it be just the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said, whether it be Weigh In Sports Talk, whether it be some other guests that we have wanted to do the show or do a show and then go ahead and get it out there, we're going to try to do that. Those are within the next couple of months of what we're doing here up on this show to make it more entertaining, bring more stuff and bring more information, more different opinions about things. So we'll do that. We'll take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we'll bring in Cuervo and get him all squared away in the second half here of the first one. There is Brian Tarvin. He sent over his picks. So we'll do that. We'll take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We'll be back. At Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. So roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast.
RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. At the Jerry Bullitt Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goals. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett. Being taken for a ride? Check out Costlow Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costo Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall. Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOARmania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This mania you don't want to miss.
Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
All right, in our second hour on the Couch Potato Sports Show, it is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we're all set. Now, and Cuervo just sent me a message about checking and doing a spot check. If you don't have your Bluetooth in, it should be just fine. So I don't think that that's going to be a problem there for you, Cuervo, coming in here. It is the second hour of the Couch Potato Sports Show as we continue to cover them all here on a Sunday morning. Again, guys, looking to expand the Couch Potato Sports Show. We got a lot of guys that have got a lot of talent but don't have a lot of time. And so we're going to slowly be bringing in some guys on the Couch Potato Sports Show on the video side of this where they can do a show and get them out there to where, and it doesn't have to be all the time, and they can catch it and get out there. So so let me just hit the button here, and before I turn on the camera, I'm not sure how we could do that. So I think you just have to jump into it, Cuervo. You just have to jump in. We'll check the sound when you come in, and we'll go from there. So we move into our second hour here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Also, make sure you check out during the week. It's either Wednesday or Thursday in between 10 and noon. We put on a show called Just Because I Wanna, because guess what? I might just want to get on the air and talk a little sports, depending on what is going on in the news, depending on what's going on as far as big stories that are hitting, and sometimes just answering to certain things. So make sure you check that out. Again, it's going to be Wednesday or Thursday, just because I wanna, with me, Sonny Clark, and we'll try to bring in Cuervo when he has some time and if he's able to get on and things of that sort. And there he is, that good-looking man with that ugly hat. I mean, with his hat on. There it is. Hey, Cuervo.
You are testing my patience, Sonny. Can you hear me okay?
I think, you know what I think the problem is more so than anything, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it now. It's your internet. That's the reason why you're coming in, because you're sounding just the same way as you did with your headsets on the Bluetooth, but we'll work through it. So it's a little bit better. So we'll try that, and then we'll roll through that. Ethernet cord might be able to help that. Were you able to get that?
My laptop is old and it sucks and it's slow. Yeah. I can't stand it.
Yeah, and what
I need a laptop.
Yeah. That being said, when you throw the Ethernet cord on, it will change all that. Even though it may be slow, it'll be that direct connect. So we'll get that squared away. But we're moving on into the next game here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. As by the way, I didn't get your pick, Indianapolis and Carolina, before we rolled out of there. I'm going Indianapolis just mainly because they're the better football team. Plus, they're at home. Carolina, not really 100%. They're going to start the backup, as Tarvin said. So that being said, what do you think about that? I see it, Bryce. Bryce is on hold. I'll bring him in just a moment. He's holding up this ugly, terrible, this terrible towel. But what do you think about Indianapolis and Carolina?
I think it's pretty even matchup. I think that these are two teams that had playoff aspirations at the beginning of the season, and it just kind of drifted away as the season went on. So kind of disappointing for both teams. But as far as today's game, I think that I like the Colts at home as well.
Colts.
They are a good team at home. I think Carolina is very spotty. And the guy, and I heard Tarvin talking about it, the guy that he was trying to think of, that quarterback, Will Grier is his name.
That's right, Will Grier. I couldn't think of it either. Which goes to show we have a lot of notes in front of our face. But we just kind of use this, and sometimes it don't always work. And oh my gosh, I'm going to do it. Let's bring him in. He's got that ugly towel up. It's the terrible towel right there. It is Bryce. Good morning, Bryce, my friend. Bryce in Brooklyn. Look at that good-looking dude. I don't know how he probably has to fight all the women off. How you doing, my man?
Sonny, you're so kind with the compliment, and then you're so blasphemous about the sacred towel.
Well,
how
hold
could
on.
You be so blasphemous?
By the way, who won last week? I think it was Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and it was a. I don't want to think about that. I know, but anyway. But
I'm not running.
Well, no. The Buffalo Bills just better team, and I don't think you're even afraid to admit that. You're a realist on your football team. Sometimes a little bit much of a homer, but at the same time, you can recognize the better football team. First of all, better last week was them, but overall, just looking at the record and everything else, they're just a better football team this year.
Look, Sonny, first of all, good morning to you. Good morning to Cuervo. I love the Bears cap. He always represents the Bears. I love it. I need to get a Steeler hat like that.
Yeah.
Look, so listen, Sonny, like you like to do, let me say I did call the score perfectly, 17-10.
Yeah.
I called the score, but not the right team.
You were a little wrong about that. Yeah,
I was wrong on that. Look, listen. My affinity for my Steelers is well known. Look, I can admit, overall, the Bills, because of what they have on offense, with Josh Allen, are a little bit better than the Steelers. I do think there are parts of the Steelers that are better than the Bills, but overall, I think the Bills are a little bit better because of what the situations that Pittsburgh has been dealing with this year. Having said that, listen, I knew it was going to be that type of game, but there were a couple things. One, I thought Sean Starrett, our offensive line coach, and Randy Fichtner, our offensive coordinator, I thought they both got outcoached. by Sean McDermott. It was a jailbreak in terms of the blitzes they dialed up and the stuff the Bills dialed up off the edge. Sean McDermott comes from the Jim Johnson tree. And if you know anything about watching the Steelers, over the years, they had trouble blocking the Philadelphia Eagles. And McDermott came and worked our protection, and our new offensive line coach, because Munchak is gone, just didn't have a good game. And they worked us. Too many soft zones by the defense. This guy, look, I love that we can get pressure with 4, but don't be afraid to send guys. I mean, they didn't show on that Ravens tape when the Bills played the Ravens that they could block guys when you brought pressure. So bring it. Make them show that they've fixed it. I felt we didn't do that. We played a little too soft on defense. But the defense still played well enough to win. The big main point was Duck Hodges. I mean, just a terrible game. You can't kill us. We can't have 5 turnovers and still win. I mean, even with this defense, we gave up 17 points, turning the football over 4 times. So that shows you if Pittsburgh doesn't turn the football over, they're going to have an opportunity to get these games home, but they can't turn the football over. So you add all up, and it equals a loss. And that brings us to the big game this week.
Well, I don't know if you want to call it a big game, but it is. They're still fighting for it. Yeah, they're still fighting for that wild card. Only one more wild card left out there, and they're going to be battling for it as they are going up against Tennessee. Now, Tennessee's got a bigger hill to climb, that being the New Orleans Saints. But the good thing for Tennessee is they have that at home more so than being on the road taking on the Saints in the Superdome. But switch it back over to the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they have got to do here. They get the Jets. They're on the road. Jets, not a good football team, but what they have been able to do is win some games that they really shouldn't have based upon taking advantage of other teams making mistakes. That is the big difference when you look at the Jets and how they have been able to do it. That's a team that knows how to capitalize on turnovers, but they just can't do anything on their own drives. I was looking at the numbers and how they were scoring, and a lot of them were off of turnovers. So they get jacked up about the turnover and they roll that and turn it into whether it's 3 or 7. But when it comes to their own drives, they are a little bit lackluster. So when I'm looking at this game, if Pittsburgh's going to turn that ball over, seeing how the Jets are able to jump on it and take that excitement of getting the turnover, turn it into points, that's a problem. But at the same time, Pittsburgh is, even with Duck, and listen, Duck's not a great quarterback. That's a work in progress. It's not going to happen next week. It's not going to happen until maybe midseason or maybe 3/4 of the season next year. That's if he plays because of Ben Roethlisberger's availability to the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether he's going to come back, whether he's not. If he's not, you better hope he does. And I say that because this is a football team that needs to have Duck learn from somebody. And he was just thrown into the water. He didn't have much time with Ben Roethlisberger to figure out what the hell is going to happen. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. When you look at this week's game, the Jets, they should be able to handle the Jets, even though that game is up there. It's not like the home field advantage is overpowering that they can't get over it. It'd be different if they were going in Gillette, Green Bay, New Orleans, all those big home field advantage teams. The Jets aren't one of them. Neither are the Giants. If this game was a Giant game, you still wouldn't have that going on over there, even though it is MetLife Stadium and they got some rabid fans, but not enough really when you take a look at this game and go, how much of a factor is the crowd going to be? I don't see it. That's why I have Pittsburgh all over. So I'm on your boys today in that ugly, terrible towel that you have. But yeah, I'm on them right there with you.
Well, listen, I think you make a lot of good points. And, the idea of home field advantage for the Jets, you can forget that there's going to be a ton of Steeler fans there.
That's a good point,
they're going to show out. They're going to show up. They're going to be at the Jet Stadium. I wish I could go there today, but I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit. But there's going to be a lot of Steeler fans there. But at the same time, I mean, again, because of the way Pittsburgh's offense is structured, you can expect another tough game. Randy Fichtner going against Greg Williams. Yes. That's an excellent. This is a matchup where the Jets are probably coming and thinking we can win this game. They're going to walk a bunch of guys up. They're going to fake blitz. They're going to bring pressure. They're going to do those type of things that over the course of history have given Pittsburgh some problems. Those Greg Williams type of defenses. When he was with Tennessee, they beat us in the home opener a few years ago. Gave us all type of problems. So you got to watch out for that. Jamal Adams is a beast. You got to watch out for that guy. They're number one against the run. So Greg Williams is going to play tough defense. On offense, you got Robbie Anderson that can take the top off the coverage. So you got to be careful because last week, it wasn't a crazy game, but John Brown had some success going deep, taking the top off the coverage. So you got to think about that. And then, of course, Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. I mean, it all starts with him. If you don't stop that guy, he's going to go off. We got a couple players that don't play very well in space. Mark Barron and Terrell Edmonds are strong safety. If he gets matched up on them in space, and if they're able to isolate those matchups and get Bell on them and on some of the switch routes and the choice routes, that's going to be a problem. They're not going to be able to handle that. So this is going to be definitely a tougher game than what people think. I'm going with my Steelers, but it's going to be a tougher game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers as well. So, but when you look at the whole thing as far as the general idea on as far as the game is concerned, when the Pittsburgh Steelers have something to play for, they just play that much better. And that's one of the things up on top of it. Say whatever you want. They have a chance to make the playoffs as slim as they are. So they're going to bring everything that they possibly can. But I think you're right. You take a look at the other side. You got Greg Williams. Say whatever you want about his history. Say whatever you want about him being the center of Bounty Gate and all this other garbage. That guy's a coach. Whether he's
a jerk.
Listen, there are a lot of jerks in the NFL that are coaches out there. He's one of them that gets results, Cuervo, and Greg Williams is a guy that can put together a defense, but man, Pittsburgh having to play for a playoff spot and what they got to do, Cuervo, what do you think? What are your thoughts going into this one when you look at the Steelers going on the road to take on the Jets?
Yeah, I mean, I like Pittsburgh's chances today. I think they'll bounce back. The Steelers are always a team that are able to bounce back after a loss. Mike Tomlin is the guy that I think, as much as we criticize him on this show, I think
as much as Sonny criticizes him.
Yeah.
What, me?
Yeah, that guy. Guy.
Yeah, me.
But, the other thing I was going to say is that as much as we, there's things that are being said on the show by certain individuals. I also think that he's a coach that gets his guys ready to play that next week, and you don't see the Steelers have bad performances, in back-to-back weeks, similar to New England and the other, powerhouse teams in the NFL. So I think the Steelers will bounce back today.
Yeah, they should be able to. But again, they do need this game. The AFC is up on the line for a playoff spot in the wild card. So Tennessee's got a tough one. Even though they're at home, they still got the tough one going on. Bryce, how long can you hang on today, or you got to bail?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to hang on for a little bit. But
okay.
I did want to say this. In spite of everything, even losing last week, which if they would have won, Pittsburgh would have been in a prime position. They're still the number 6 seed if the playoffs started today.
Right.
Their destiny is still in front of them. They can accomplish everything they want to accomplish. Sonny, Cuervo, and this football team has no business being on the verge of being 9-6.
Absolutely.
No business. Which is a credit to Mike Tomlin, which is a credit to Kevin Colbert, and a credit to the defense that is a top 3 defense. Easy.
Yep.
Cuervo, I'll even go so far to say that I think this defense is better than your defense. I do.
We get a little awkward silence there, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I think this defense at every level might even be better than your defense, Cuervo. It might. I think it is.
Bryce, they're healthier. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
And he's sticking to it, too. Yeah.
They are healthy. They are healthy. Yeah. But I think all things being equal, this defense, look, the reason why I say that is because, to me, Khalil Mack is the best defensive player in football.
I agree.
Having said that, though, it takes 10 other guys, and I think
Real quick. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think from 1 to 11, Pittsburgh is a better defense than the Bears' defense.
Interestingly enough, that right there can tell you a lot about who is doing what and things of that sort, that as far as want and desire of your team. So right now, Cuervo, I hate to break our hearts because I am a Bears fan. I'm more of a Bears realist than Cuervo is.
No, you're not, Sonny.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are just a little bit better than the Chicago Bears all around, and I think they're even a little bit better on defense, at least this year. Overall, as far as talent, paper, and everything else, that's Chicago. You can say whatever you want. They're just not playing because hold on. To say they're not playing is not probably the right thing to say. What it is they're on the football field way too much because they can't get any kind of sustain of an offense on the side of the football. I mean, they're on the field all the time. So, of course, they're going to give up points. Of course, they're going to lose football games. And that's where the Bears are. Right now, they have no chemistry, no identity on the offensive side of the ball, which would make them be better defensively because they can get that much needed rest during the game, Cuervo. And I think that's the difference in reality when I look at these two teams, which one has the better defense. Well, the Steelers can sustain the offensive drive, Cuervo.
And it's not going to get any easier tonight, guys. And we'll talk about that game later, but very interesting.
Why did I push the wrong button? Sorry, guys. All right, so that being said, getting it all squared away and ready to go here on a Sunday morning. We'll head into the next game that's up on board, at least on my board. Not a lot to talk about a lot of these games, and this is one of them. The Cincinnati Bengals go on the road to take on the Miami Dolphins, and I could really give a rat's fat ass bowl. So at the same time, when you look at this, is that guys are playing for their jobs, and there are some talent on both sides, both of these football teams. Miami signed a couple of players, one of the wide receivers, his name's slipping my mind. This guy's badass. So they got him and they put him under. They also got an offensive line that one of their players that they went ahead and signed. Now on the other side, Cincinnati, it's a different football team. First of all, they had no AJ Green at all. That is killer for a football team, regardless of how much he could bring to it. When you take a guy that you have to plan for off the football field, you take him off the football field, makes the game a lot easier. That is huge. So you don't have to plan for a guy if he's not playing. So that's what AJ Green brings to that football team. Secondly, they've got to figure out a quarterback position because Andy Dalton, if he's the quarterback next year, someone needs to fire the general manager, and because they need to find a quarterback. Andy Dalton, as great as I love him, he's a TCU boy right down the street right here in Fort Worth, Texas. Love him. Went to many games just to watch that guy play. All right, guess what? It might not be working here in Cincinnati. He might need that change of scenery because I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I kind of think of him as a Ryan Tannehill. He outstayed his welcome in Miami. Now he's in Tennessee, has a new lease on life, and he's playing good football. I think Andy Dalton can do that, get him on a different football team, not the worst team in the NFL, but a team that needs an upgrade at the quarterback position because they're so bad. But in this game, I mean, you're getting Andy Dalton in there, or you get Andy Dalton at the quarterback. He's going to play. But God, I hate this game. I hate picking it because my mind's telling me Cincinnati, but Miami at home, that's another thing I want to hang on to, Bryce. So when you're looking at this one, Bryce, what do you think about this one? Who you think is going to get the victory?
So two things before we get to that. I want to give a score: Steelers 20, Jets 13. That's the way I'm looking at it. And then the second thing is, Sonny, I know Cuervo, Sonny was talking about the Bears and he chimed in. I want to chime in with something random. Gardner Minshew on the road, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I just thought I would throw that out there for Sonny. I know how much he loves that guy.
The sinking ship.
On the road, Cuervo, 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I'm just saying.
There's a guy that needs to take stock in Gillette and shave whatever that he's got growing underneath his nose. That being said, it's a totally different story. That we'll get to that one. But this one here,
but this one here, so this one here, I think the Cincinnati Bengals should, and I know Bengals fans, if you're listening, you're probably going to disagree. The Cincinnati Bengals, from a coaching standpoint, should clean house again.
I agree.
I don't think Zach Taylor is the answer. I think that team is not only poorly coached, but I think it is poorly put together. We know Mike Brown is the real problem, but he's not going to get rid of himself, which also means I think A.J. Green needs to want out. I think he should demand a trade. I don't think he should resign. And I think Andy Dalton, of course, should get out. And I think they should clean house completely, start over, and bring on a better coach, and probably bring on some and really build up the front office in terms of football people. Because that thing is so bad. That thing is so mismanaged. It's so poorly put together.
Yep.
And I think they should do that. They don't have a quarterback. And I'm not sure, even with Joe Burrow, you take Joe Burrow. I think the best thing going for Joe Burrow is not even A.J. Green. I think A.J. Green needs to demand a trade. The best thing going for Joe Burrow is they need to bring in a coach that will build off of Joe Mixon in the run game, and everything will build off of that. And then they have Mixon draft more running backs and play AFC North football and build that team inside out. That team needs to be gutted. So that's what I think of that. In terms of the game, I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins, because as much as I haven't liked Brian Flores for what he did with Kenny Stills, I just didn't like that as a coach, how he handled that situation, with what Kenny Stills said about the owner and then shipping him out of there and playing the Jay-Z music. I didn't like that at all. But that team does play hard for him. They have played hard, and I like Devontae Parker, and Ryan Fitzpatrick he can make some plays. So I think Miami is actually the better football team, and they're actually playing hard for their coach. So I'm going to go with Miami.
I think that's key. They're playing hard for the coach, Cuervo, and that is a big difference when you got, unlike the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, anyway, but I mean, when you're playing for your coach, you put things out on the line, and whether or not that's what's happening in Miami, I don't know. I don't know if Brian Flores should be the coach of that football team anyway next year. That's more talent, more so than coach, in my opinion, when I look at that team. So, Cuervo, looking at this one here, I had written down originally Cincinnati in this one, but I agree with Bryce. I think when you got a team that does want to rally behind a coach, you get a better football team. They're a better football team in reality in Cincinnati. I love Joe Mixon. I think they should clean house, but they better keep him, because that guy right there is probably the franchise. And let's be honest, when you're talking Joe Mixon as your franchise, you don't have a lot that you got to build on. So you're not going to hurt this football team by cleaning the house. So, Joe Mixon pretty much is the franchise right now, as far as that's concerned. Who do you have? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Miami. I'm going with Bryce. Who are you going to go with, Cuervo?
Yeah, I'll for the sweep, I'll take Miami as well, guys.
Yeah.
But look, I need Joe Mixon to come through today. I'm in my championship round. Need him.
Yeah, there you go. By the way, Tarvin is on Cincinnati in this game. I don't know why. Maybe we'll ask him when we come back. By the way, just a quick question I got in the chat room there. And Bryce might know this one. With Pittsburgh, if Tennessee loses today and the Steelers win, they lock up that playoff spot, or do they have to wait until week 17?
No, they have to wait till week 17. Tennessee is saved because it's an NFC loss.
Got it.
So if records are identical, then you go to the conference record, and if Pittsburgh wins out, they're definitely in. If both teams go 1-1, then we would need Tennessee to win today but lose to the Texans, and then we're in. So if we lose both games, of course we're out.
Right.
So if both teams go 1-1, we need Tennessee to beat the Titans. If we both teams go 1-1, but Tennessee beats the Texans, we're out.
Right.
Tennessee in.
If they lose and the Steelers lose, who make it right now? So it would be Pittsburgh, correct? Because of that.
It would be, yes, I think it would be us.
Yeah, because of the conference. So yeah, that's what I'm looking
Both
at.
both teams went 0-2 these last two games, and it gets really, really dicey.
Yeah.
There could be, I could be wrong. It could actually be based on AFC conference record because we lose 2 AFC games. It could be Tennessee.
You know what? You are right. If they do it that way, it is that way. That part, because I remember.
If we win today, it gets dicey for Tennessee. They're really in must.
Yeah.
We lose today, and we're going to be really dicey.
Yeah, lots of work that needs to happen for that one. So that would be interesting to see how that one goes on. All right, so
hey man, listen, they're turning over 5 times. It will happen.
Yeah,
like they did last week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that's gonna take us to the next game that's on my schedule. The Jacksonville Jaguars. They are going to go on the road, take on the Atlanta Falcons, and good God Almighty, jeez.
This is where Sonny gets emotional about his team.
No, it's just pathetic. I mean, it's just pathetic, and more in the fact you think about what happened with Tom Coughlin.
Hold on, Sonny. I got to hear your thoughts on Tom. That is a mess.
Well,
Bryce, I need you, if you have some sort of belt, like a seat belt type thing attached to your chair, I need you to strap on because it's going to get
it's going to get ugly.
Wait, no. Actually, it's not, because if you jump back into later or earlier this week, I did a show that I do during the week. It's called Just Because I Wanna, and I spoke on this and this whole situation as far as Tom Coughlin. The Jacksonville Jaguars, first of all, have got to be one of the stupidest franchises in the NFL. After you get rid of a coach who was under 500 in the freaking first place, okay? So good riddance. I mean, Sonny Clark had a freaking celebration. I mean, I broke out the Kool-Aid and everything. So you get rid of this guy, you bring him back years and years like he is some sort of god because he got lucky because Eli Manning knows how to get a guy to get a ball caught on his head. Bringing on, and all of a sudden he's some kind of freaking offensive guru or player personnel guru after he goes to the Giants. And by the way, he was with the quote unquote NFL head office, all that crap. They bought into Tom Coughlin. Go back, just go back. There's only one coach that right now is successful at being player personnel, GM, and everything. Who is that, Cuervo? He's over. They just won their 11th title in the. There's only one guy that can do it, and that's Bill Belichick. Holmgren, okay, all right. Bill Parcells in Miami. Down, and then now add Tom Coughlin. These old football coaches, okay, they think too much like football coaches when it comes to being the player personnel or the executive vice president of anything. And I'll just throw one more out there and not to stab, Cuervo in the back, taking it to basketball. Look at Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson was a complete and utter disgusting mess up there for the Knicks. Didn't know how to bring together a basketball team. These guys think they've got that coaching mentality and not the mentality to run a football team. There is a difference. And if you don't think that there's a difference, you're blind as hell. And the Jaguars, when they went and did this, I am Tom Coughlin. I set my desk 2 feet higher than the regular floor to show off my seniority or my superiority to everybody. What did they freaking expect? I mean, so it is what it is, and thank God it happened. And not only that, I'm hearing a bunch of crap about whether or not, was this a good move for the Jaguars? Should they? Well, what? Why would they? In other words, who gives a rat's fat hairy ass on whether or not Tom Coughlin is a vice president of player personnel for the Jaguars? No one. And the simple fact of the matter is that when you got a guy like that handcuffing the head coach and the GM to try to make the team better, to where you lose Jalen
Ramsey.
Thank you, Jalen Ramsey. And then the other dude that's playing for the Rams as well. It wasn't great, but he was good enough. They should have kept him. I forget his name, but I'll remember. But he's going. Yeah, he's gone too.
It wasn't Fowler. It was
it was Fowler. That's exactly who it was.
Yeah.
It was freaking Fowler. They lose him. You have a defense that was the top 3 defense 2 years ago, and now they're in oblivion right now.
Yeah.
So, we're worried about Tom Coughlin, whether or not we're going to hurt him or whatever the case. Who gives a raspberry fat hairy ass about Tom Coughlin as he screwed up your football team as the head coach, and you just brought him back for a second dose? Because if you honestly think that he wasn't in the ear of that head coach out there, Doug Marrone, you're wrong. And that's because he carries that kind of thing. Now, Doug Marrone, these next 2 games, he get the opportunity to go ahead and not have some crazy idiot, Skeletor up in the booth out there in his ear every 5 minutes about what play to run. So you get a better opportunity to see this guy coach. Now, you look at the general manager. His name is Dave Coughlin, I think, or not Coughlin, Caldwell. Dave Caldwell. I don't know what this 2 games does for him. I mean, because the team's already there. Whether or not what they're going to do about it is the future is going to be huge. So he might have his job. If you get rid of Doug Marrone as the head coach of your football team, that guy will have a job in 20 minutes. Okay, and he'll be in Dallas. I'm telling you right now, Doug Marrone's a badass, and everybody knows it. And you just have a crazy dude running the damn football team. Or they'd be in the position where they were in the playoffs and kicking everybody's ass each and every week, and that didn't happen. And that came from one Tom Coughlin. Now, you look at today's game in Atlanta, I'm actually picking the Jaguars, because once you get rid of a guy that runs your team down, it will automatically bring the chemistry of this football team up, because they can feel like they can play all on the same page, when instead of being overlooked by some crazy Skeletor in the top part of a stadium saying, hey, he should be back up on that play, he should be over here. Let them play free and let them get out there, because they got 2 more weeks to get jobs, whether it's with Jacksonville or get enough film to say, hey, we want that guy. I'm on the Jaguars. Sorry about that.
Cuervo, we had to strap in, man. Go ahead. You go.
Bryce, how was that ride? Was that right?
It was awesome. It was everything I knew it was going to be.
And you want to know what? I was right. But I don't know. What do you think about this one? I mean, the Jaguars go on and take Atlanta. Atlanta's playing halfway decent. I don't know if they're good, bad, or indifferent, or whether or not you want to go ahead and and anoint them as a good football team now. Is going the old Brian Hoyer way. You got 4 games and you play good for 4 games. Everybody think the second coming of Christ here on a Sunday happens, and they're not. They're just not a good football team. And you watch. This is what's going to happen. They're gonna fire the head coach. They're gonna keep the worst offensive coordinator in the world over there in Atlanta. Okay, I'm talking about my boy Dirk Koetter, the worst offensive coordinator in the last 10 years of the NFL. Sorry, he is. And then so they fire the coach, keep him, and keep Matt Ryan. And instead of starting afresh and getting going and get this franchise off the ground with some new blood, and it won't happen. You watch. That's what's gonna happen. I can just see it.
Cuervo, on you go.
Sonny, you forgot to mention exploring trades for Julio Jones, because
that too. After they signed the mega deal that they did in order to keep him there. Yeah, great idea. Yeah. Hey, way to go, Atlanta! You're right there. Oh, I shouldn't do that. There's something about that. It's A-OK. I meant A-OK. I didn't mean whatever the hell it means now. But anyway, that having been said, who are you picking in this one?
He did get an extension. That's right. He did get that extension. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, big extension.
Yeah, so maybe they won't trade him. Maybe they'll keep him. But I think everything else that you mentioned could very well happen.
Yeah.
Hey, not only will they keep Dirk Koetter, they might make him the head coach.
Oh man, you just want to see my head explode, don't you?
I want to.
That's
First of
your
all,
one.
if they make
the secret
if
right
they make
there.
Dirk Carter the head coach, could you imagine the wild route we're going to go on this show?
Oh my God! I mean, it's bad. It's
Well,
bad enough
it's
I go off on
wild
Lamar
ride.
Jackson, but
Strap in. Sonny's going to go off for a half hour.
no, I mean, I am.
We got the harness on.
Get me something that sits right here and says Dirk Cotter sucks. And I got a Facebook back page that says, "You hired who?" And then I got Dirk Cotter with a little laughing face on there, really big. I'm looking forward to reposting that one if that ends up happening. But Jacksonville and Atlanta, who you got, Cuervo? And give me a reason if you want to.
No, honestly, Sonny, and Bryce knows. Or if he doesn't know, he knows now. Sonny and I, we're not ESPN, right? We don't rehearse. We don't go over notes before our show. No, we hardly even talk during
That's
the week.
obvious.
He'll call me every now and then to talk about certain things, but we don't go over notes for the show.
No.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I like Jacksonville for the same exact reason. Because every time a situation like this happens where a guy that is considered a cancer, which I don't think Tom Coughlin's a cancer, but he's a guy that players lost respect for just because of his disciplinarian ways. And
it's old school. That's what it is. It's old school. And as much as I love old school Cuervo, that's what it is. And it just doesn't work with today's players. I mean, they're so far above that. They'll tell you to go take a flying leap at their fat ass because they make 10 times as much as the coach. So that's the reason why you get that. And that's one of the problems why coaches, unfortunately, have really zero authority over their players because they can't control them because they already got the money in their pocket. And that's the difference between the football players in the past compared to where it is. They used to almost be on the even scale or a little bit less than what the head coach was making. Now that all that's turned, now you got to kiss players' ass in order to make them happy, and that's not good.
Make them happy is one thing. Taking care of them is another. And there's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
Taking care of them is not always making them happy. It's always doing what's best for those players. So anyways, what I was going to say is, the disciplinary thing, it works as a head coach, but when you get to certain positions in the front office of an NFL team, that you throw that style, that persona out. I mean, I don't think Bill Parcells was that guy in Miami. The team stunk so bad that's why they were never good when he was there. But I think Parcells had enough respect around the organization to, if they would have gave him more time, I think he could have got that team rolling.
Maybe.
Tom Coughlin, on the other hand, had something. There was a foundation there when he took over that position in Jacksonville. And because of his stubborn, disciplinarian, my way or the highway mentality, it completely tore everything down. It completely broke down what they had, and that's why you see your Jacksonville Jaguars in the position that they are now, because having that mentality, that personality does not work when you hold that type of position in the front office. If he was a head coach, fair game, you know what I mean? But it doesn't. That's not who you want, and I think it trickled down because Marrone was unresponsive to the way Coughlin was treating him.
Absolutely.
Which made the players unresponsive to the situation. I don't think Doug Marrone necessarily changed the way he was coaching the team, but I think that because of the way Coughlin was treating his head coach, it kind of affected the way Marrone carried on with the job as a head coach of this football team. And I think today you're going to see a different Jacksonville Jaguars team. You're going to see a team with a lot more energy, a lot more confidence. And I'm not saying they're going to blow Atlanta out, but they're going to go in there, and I think you're going to see the Jacksonville Jaguars team that we expected at the beginning of the year. which is
maybe even 2 years ago. Bryce?
Fluid offense and very good defense.
So yeah, both of you make very good points. When it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the fact that let's go all the way to the top to Shad Khan.
Okay.
The fact that Shad Khan allowed this type of thing to go on to the point where his best player, Jalen Ramsey, forced his way out. The fact that to only now have Tom Coughlin be kicked out is so egregious because that is because you just milked, like Sonny said, you took a defense that with that secondary could play anything they wanted to in the front seven. Yep. And you basically neutered them on the altar of Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin is one of these guys that is more invested in the image and persona of Tom Coughlin than actually doing what's right for his players and the team.
Agreed.
Which is why the moment they fired him, Cuervo, they moved all the clocks back to the regular time.
Yeah,
that's a move that says that's a FU move. And the fact that Shad Khan allowed that nonsense to go on, this finding people for every little thing, that's not about being old school even to me. That's about controlling people. You want to make everyone know that I'm in charge.
Yep.
Okay, as a head coach, players didn't like it then, but it was a little bit more, you're right, Sonny, it was a little bit more accepted back in the day.
Absolutely.
But like Sonny also said, you are not the head coach anymore.
Yep.
You are the EVP of football. And you can't operate like you're the head coach, making everyone abide by these silly rules. Mm-hmm. That's making it about you. And Shad Khan should have nipped that in the bud. Like, Tom, rather not doing that or letting you go right now.
Well,
he should have just told him, you are not the head coach. Doug Marrone is the head coach, and he needs to set the tone in that building. And your job is to get him the players that he needs to succeed and win championships. The fact that they started choosing Tom Coughlin over that to the players by letting Jalen Ramsey go, now it's all gone downhill.
Well,
I'm actually and I'm going with the Falcons. Because I think the Falcons are playing hard. I think the Falcons are a more talented team. I think it'll be a close game, but I actually think the Falcons are going to win because the Jacksonville Jaguars, now that they've given away their defense, can't stop anybody.
Well, parts of me agree with what you're saying. Parts I don't. And one of them is going back to the owner. What do we say about Jerry Jones all the time? Let the football people do the football stuff. Okay. And regardless of whatever you think about Tom Coughlin, and I don't have a great opinion about him. Okay. But if you're an owner and you're letting your football people do your football things, that's where an owner and VP of personnel and all that gets separated. The guy just writes the check. Now, the part that you may or may not know is that Khan met with Jalen, and that was for him to try to soothe over what was going on in that whole situation. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. Now, at that point, you as an owner can't have a meeting with Jalen, okay, and then a week later fire Tom Coughlin. That does not look good regardless of whatever you're doing, because then it undermines what's going on in the front office more so than if a football player throws enough of a fit, he's going to get what he wants. That cannot be the precedent that's set in an NFL football franchise, regardless of who the player is, okay? Now, that having been said, all right, he might have stepped back and let this go on for a little bit too long. And if he would have jumped in and did this a little bit earlier in the season and say, listen, we can't have this nonsense going out on this football field. We got a team that was in the top 3 defenses. And if we can put together some kind of offense, we're in the game 70% of the time. We have an opportunity to win. But when you can't get the players to buy into what you're selling, that is the biggest thing in reality. And when Doug Marrone can't push what he's selling because of the executive salesman says no to things or puts in new arbitrary rules that make it harder for him to coach, that is where it should have been stepped in. It should have been stepped in at the middle of the season to where you can maybe bring someone else in to try to smooth it over for the rest of the year and try to salvage the season before you saw the sinking ship, the Titanic. If they had enough time, they could have saved that damn thing. They didn't get that with Jacksonville, and that's the reason why it sunk like the Titanic, and that's the reason why it is. And these last 2 weeks, you're not going to get a good idea on what you're going to get with Doug Marrone, really. Well, in reality, you already know what you got with Doug Marrone. So if you're dependent on these last 2 games of the season to know what you have as your head coach, that's a problem. You can't do anything on the GM side of it. There's only 2 more games. It's not like he can go pick up the next best thing out there. You know, they got to figure out what he can pick up, whether it's in free agency or through the draft and bringing in players. So he might get 1 more year. Doug Marrone's there for at least 2 more years. And I think that's good for the Jaguars. But the problem is, Bryce, they let their talent go. And they're going to have to figure out how to work together to find that talent. So that means that you're going to have Doug Marrone as probably right there to the side of Caldwell, trying to figure out what players to bring in, more so than a guy with a, iron fist, pushing down Coughlin saying, no, we're getting this guy, figure it out. And I think that could be the difference, and it could turn around the franchise. Listen, as the coach is concerned, I'm all over the coach. The rest of the franchise is completely lost, and they're going to have to try to rebuild it. And you can't blame Marrone if it's not rebuilt. He is not the general manager. He can only try to put together what's out on the football field that's put in front of him. And anybody that knows anything about NFL, it's based upon the chemistry that you can put on the football field week in, weekend, or you're going to have a team that goes down the hill, and that's the way it works. Usually.
Right.
But
before we move on, if I was an owner, and you guys can agree to disagree, or you can agree 100% with what I'm about to say, this is just my philosophy on, because I'm sitting here and I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and I'm thinking, as an owner, if I was an owner of a football team, right? If I own the team, the 2 most important people as an owner to me are my GM, my head coach.
Yep.
I'm backing those guys up 100% in whatever they want to do. If they feel it's best for the franchise, and they feel like it's going to bring us championships and wins and everything that you want in a team, then I'm all for it. I'm not saying that I will just completely dismiss my executive VP or whoever else you have to have in your front office staff. But those 2 guys are my priorities.
I agree.
Coach, my GM. So why other teams haven't figured that out, and I'm a guy sitting here with a freaking Chicago Bears Santa hat on, I don't get it. But that's just me thinking outside the box. If I own the football team, those are the 2 guys that I'm taking care of more than anyone else.
Well, those are the 2 that are the ones that would generate W's more so than the executive vice president of player personnel.
And the reason I'm bringing that up, Sonny, is because I go back to what Bryce mentioned. It does start with the owner. Shad Khan, if he was, and I think this goes to show that he's not as much money as he has invested into this franchise. He's not engaged. He's not engaged with this team at all. It's almost like
good, bad, or indifferent, Cuervo. Is that good, bad, or indifferent? Because you hear all over the NFL that they don't need to be that engaged. They need to let football players and football people handle football business.
Okay. If you're Jerry Jones engaged, that's bad.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't. It's like, Sonny. It's not just, there aren't just 2 choices: no involvement or Jerry Jones. I mean, people have to know how to lead, and there's a medium here.
You gotta find that medium.
Right. You got to know how to lead. Right.
If you're Jerry Jones involved, that's bad because you are way too involved and you're pretty much stepping on everybody's toes. But if you're one of those like, no, I'll be back in 6 months type of owner and let me see how the team's doing, that's also bad because you give your franchise no direction. You give your staff no direction. And that's what you have to have. Go ahead, Bryce. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. Like, Sonny, I mean, that's kind of what I was going to respond to your thing. It's like when there's no direction, Then there's Tom Coughlin moving the clocks forward, finding people for sitting down. It's like, come on, Sonny. Like to me, that's not even old school. It's like, I get it. He's a disciplinarian. He's always been like that. But that's some like, yeah, you were coaching a young football team in Jacksonville years ago. And so you tried to instill that discipline.
Yep.
Remember when he tried to do that with the Giants? He almost had a revolt.
Oh, I know.
He had to set up a
And that
player.
right there should have told the Jaguars they shouldn't have grabbed this guy up to be the guy to run your football team, not your coach. But I mean, we're talking about your football team.
They had to set up a players board because Strahan and them are like, I'm Michael Strahan. You're not going to find me for wearing the wrong wristbands. Like this is not going to go. This is not going to go down. So that started to wane, and now he's the EVP trying to do the same thing, but you're not in the same position. And so Shad Khan, who's the head guy, needed to tell him from the gate, Tom, I love your football knowledge. I want you to come here, help us pick these players and win these championships. But you're not going to be instituting the same things you did as a coach. Respect to you if you can't do that. I'll find someone else. But we're not going to do this. You got to be enough of a leader to know that. That's not managing. Any organization, Sonny.
Yep.
Will tell you bad leadership.
I got that going on where I work right now. I celebrated 5 years. If someone told me I was going to be with U-Haul for 5 years, I would have told them they were nuts. Another story. I've seen the story of Coughlin on different levels, so many times it's worse than a football franchise in reality. But at the same time, when you're talking about football, when you're talking about the getting it down to brass nuts is that football operations is football operations. It's not football coach. It's not football dealings with what you're doing. Set up the damn plane to get us to wherever we're going. That's your job, okay? Not what I'm doing here today. And that's where we all I think I even came on the show and said, listen, guys, this is going to be a great experiment of nothing, because that's exactly what he was before it ended up happening. That's the reason why they ran him out of town, for God's sake. And they brought him back for part 2. That Hot Shots was bad. Okay, part 2 was just disgusting. Okay, so you get the same damn thing. I mean, that's that, definition of insanity, doing the same damn thing over and over, expecting the same result. That's exactly what happened there. Yeah, exactly. Hey, by the way, you want to talk about a franchise that knows how to take the steps to do what it takes to run a franchise? That's the Rooneys. The Rooneys have been doing it for a long time, because listen, Sonny Clark would have got rid of his coach 3 years ago. Okay. All right, so
right. And that's why. Yep. And then Sonny Clark would have had to be drug tested.
Yeah.
That coach could win Coach of the Year this year. He could win it.
Yeah. Anyway, that we'll go with that. But that having been said, so you're on Atlanta, and Cuervo and I are on the Jaguars. I'll get to Tarvin's picks here in a moment. That's going to take us in. How long? You still hanging there, Bryce?
No, I actually got to head on out, guys.
All right. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining us. Whenever you get the opportunity, just join us. I'll send you the request. I mean,
it's always fun.
Forget about having the quality of what's talking about. When you got a guy that good looking, you got to at least put him in. I might even take a picture of you and put it up here in the corner, so we're reminded of how good looking Bryson Brooklyn is.
He's only buttering me up so he can once again say Tomlin needs to be fired.
Yeah, one more time. I'm going to try it. I know I won't get away with it, but hey, I'm going to try. Anyway, it's Bryson Brooklyn. Always joining us, so we appreciate it.
See you next week.
You got it. Next week we'll bring him on. And by the way, I'm going to bring in, and I haven't even told Cuervo this, okay? Cuervo's like, wait a second, am I the co-host of the show? Yes. He's like, I'm going to bring back in Todd, okay, for the playoffs, okay? So for the wild card, however we're going to do our show, because remember, the first week of the playoffs, they have games on Saturday. So we are going to have to set up a show for those Saturday games, either Friday, Thursday, because I can't do it on Saturday because I'm going to be working those days. So we'll figure that all out. But we'll always be on before the games and the playoffs. Remember, after the season is over and during the playoffs, we move our schedule to where it's 2 to 3 hours before the first game. So whenever that first game is, we'll be on 2 to 3 hours before that. And when they get into the playoffs and move on, then after this is all over, we go back to our regular off-season schedule, 12 to 3 on the Couch Potato Sports Show. That being said, that way Cuervo has plenty of time to put on his face, get his coffee, and ready to rock and roll for 3 hours. Or if he can join us at all, bringing in Todd more so because they're not as many games, and he brings a pretty good insight with us. So I'll be bringing Todd in starting the first week of the playoffs, and he will be kind of a sit-in for Cuervo because sometimes in the offseason Cuervo can't make it because of military obligations and things of that sort. So I got your plan B set for you. If you can't make it, I'll bring Todd in and get him all squared away to go. So that being said, we're at the top of the hour. I do need to take a quick break because something has to use the restroom. Then he needs more coffee. So we'll do that. We'll take the quick break, and when we come back, we'll run through the rest of them. There are a lot of games that are just really quick because there's nothing really to talk about in them. So that's why we hung out on some of the objects, and never mind having Bryce on. He brings the knowledge to the show. That's one of the reasons why I like to have him on. So we'll do that. We're going to take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we'll get into the rest of this one. We'll be right back.
Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. Come visit us today at 5701 President George Bush Turnpike, Suite 110 in the Target Shopping Center. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
Find out how Merchant Masters, DFW, specializing in small business companies, can help you save money and protect your customers' information with our credit card processing and point-of-sale system, including financial savings, lowest possible rates, superior technology, and improved support. Or contact John Beeman, Merchant Masters, DFW, different from all the rest. At the Jerry Bullet Training Center, we truly believe experience is the best teacher. With over 50 combined years of knowledge and experience in sports performance and athletic training, our coaches understand exactly what it takes to achieve your goal. Contact Melvin Bullitt at 214-326-7853 or visit their brand new facility just outside of Waterview at 8900 Princeton Road in Rowlett. Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Go Custom. Get happy. Tell us what you love. We're your local neighborhood window covering experts who truly understand your needs, so we deliver the perfect solution for your home. So check out Budget Blinds of Rowlett, serving Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, and Garland. Give them a call at 972-722-9300. Budget Blinds of Rowlett. where we listen to our customers' needs. Ever want to know why Bill and I look so good on our broadcast? Check out K West Designs on Facebook. You can take a look at our pictures and see the quality of the work that comes from K West Designs, especially if you have a special occasion. Just get on Facebook, look up K West Designs right in the search bar, contact them directly for questions or anything that you may have regarding your personal design. RowlettFood.com. Do you want to have dinner delivered but you don't want to use Uber Eats? Contact someone locally that can do the same thing at a better price and faster. All you have to do is pick a restaurant on the list at the website, tell us what you'd like to order, then check out. Check out RowlettFoods.com. Give us a call at 972-408-8002 or check us out on the web at RowlettFood.com. Are you looking for a new home? Want to know what your house could sell for in today's market? Then you need to contact Realtor Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Rockwall. Whether you're buying, selling, leasing, or investing, he can help you get where you need to be. That's 214-236-2914. Jeremy Morgan with Ray Hubbard Real Estate Group, Keller Williams Rockwall. Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607 or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOARmania, Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This mania you don't want to miss. And welcome back into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. I'd be amiss. Look at my new background right here, guys. Right up here. And I'll just do this. Because right up there, James is always looking out for me. Yeah, that's James Brown at the top there, along with Ted E. Bear and Porky Pine, and some of my other stuff. Family members up to the left, family member right there. Some interesting pictures up there. Me and my puppy right back here. I love her before she passed away. Just some of the things in the background there. And they over on this side right here, the birds right here. These are the robins, a male and a female robin. That reminds me of my mom and pop every day. So I got reminders of my family around and for it. So happy holidays for everybody as Christmas time is here. Let me put, I got festive there and bring in Cuervo on the other side. Good to see you back here, Cuervo. Running into our third hour, and we're going to breeze through some of these because there's a lot of games that don't mean a lot. So I'll go to one of the games that don't mean a lot. Of course, it's the Giants in Washington to take on. Now, both these teams have got great games next week, all depending on what happens with the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles here today. Could be next week's games
games are really great. The Giants get the Eagles, or mark that, the Giants get the the Washington Redskins. Let me just make sure. The Washington Redskins will get Dallas next week, and the Giants get the Eagles. So depending on what happens in this one, but at least according to what I was thinking and what I found out today, this will be the Eagles and Cowboys will be for the division in reality. So we'll be looking at one. But these two go head-to-head, and it's always a knockdown, drag-out. All right, so you got the battle of the first-year quarterbacks. We should have Jones back for the Giants. And then, of course, you got what's going on with Haskins over in Washington. Two young quarterbacks that are coming in trying to make a name of themselves in the NFL. Yeah, but one of my things, and I say it all the time, Washington, tough team to play at home. And that's one of the reasons why I'm just jumping in on this one. I don't see a lot in the Giants, more so than maybe Jones needs more time. He's going to be the guy that's going to be at least there for the next 2 years over there. So would it surprise me if the Giants won this game? Not really. It just depends on who's ready for Daniel Jones coming off an injury, or whatever the case may be. My understanding is Jones is supposed to start in that game. Yeah, I have Haskins right there. Haskins at home, good home football team that are the Washington Redskins. The reason why I'm going Washington. Cuervo?
So do I have to pick somebody in this game?
I know. Isn't that crazy? I hate the fact that you got to do it. So, yeah. So, yeah. But, and I hate that because it messes up my overall total because of these games that mean nothing. And then, of course, they come back and win them. But I like Dwayne Haskins. I like what I've seen from him. And I like the fact that he's a human being. And what I mean by that is sometimes you get these football players become football robots. And you got Dwayne Haskins on his first victory taking selfies with people, forgetting where he is and just excited about the game. It's one of the reasons why I like Dwayne Haskins. I think that's one of the reasons why people will end up loving him in Washington, as he will probably be the guy in Washington for a long time. Washington good at home. And the Giants are just that bad. So you get a combination of both. Again, wouldn't surprise me if the Giants won it because nothing's really on the line more so than anything. So I'm just taking a flyer on the Washington Redskins. Cuervo?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet, Sonny. I like the Redskins as well. I think that the Giants have kind of, took this season, they flushed it down the toilet. So I like Washington today. I like Haskins. I like the Redskins at home.
Yep, good stuff there. It'll be an entertaining game. I'll be on Red Zone, so we'll be watching for that. Other games that I don't have a lot to talk about, Detroit and Denver. The only thing that has been going on in Denver is there's been a mad illness rolling through the locker room that's affecting the quarterback, wide receiver, and an offensive lineman. Not good. Depending on they're gonna fluid them up before the game. They're all gonna play, I imagine. But that being said, that does change the outlook, of the game, because I was all over the Denver Broncos on this one. Still am as well, because when I look at these games, there's two things I look at. Number one, I look at the records and who's going to be at the quarterback position. The backup is still going to be there. You're not going to get Matthew Stafford for Detroit, so you get the backup there. He's not horrible there, but Locke just looks like a different quarterback, and we'll find out what kind of quarterback he is, playing with the illness and trying and not being 100%, see what he looks like. But the Denver Broncos, did they embarrass Houston the other week or something like that? They embarrassed them in reality. So I like what I've been seeing out of Denver, and I think Denver is a team I thought it would be this year. I thought I'd see more from Denver this year. Unfortunately, that wasn't so. I picked it so much so I thought they'd win this division. I thought they were going to just shock everybody. That didn't happen, but I expect a lot from them next year. I'm on the Denver Broncos in this one. Hopefully everybody will be fluided up to take on a Detroit Lions team that looks like that they have quit for the season already. And that doesn't look good, by the way, for their head coaches. There's been rumblings on whether or not he should be the coach or not, but they went ahead and said he's going to be here next year. And of course, I'm talking about the dude that came from New England as the defensive coordinator. His name's slipping my mind. There we go. I don't have it up in front of me. So there you go. So looking at this one, Cuervo, what are you looking at?
Matt Patricia, Sonny.
Thank you.
Going back to the game before, just really, really quick.
Okay.
Washington and the Giants.
Yes.
Based on the schedule, one of these teams are going to have the opportunity to play spoiler. So we'll find out later today which one it's going to be.
Could be, yeah, exactly.
Because they're both playing, the Giants or the Cowboys and the Eagles. So whoever wins that game today, might ruin it for the other team, if that makes any sense.
I think there's like a jigsaw puzzle if the Philadelphia Eagles win it. Now, if the Cowboys win, they wrap it up. That part's been figured out. Yes. But if the Philadelphia Eagles win, somebody's got to win to lose, and whatever you put the jigsaw to get to figure out who's going to get the playoff spot. But they could end up playing spoiler next week, and that's what makes this game, as far as these two are concerned as well, who's going to be playing better and who would be get that. So. If Philadelphia does win and they're going to be going into it, Philadelphia is on the road, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking here. Next week, the Philadelphia Eagles, where are they? There it is, Philadelphia on the road to play Giants. And, so that's where it would end up. So if the Giants win here today, that might make that game very interesting, depending on what happens later on in the day today when that Philly and Dallas game happens.
Yeah, and then Denver, Detroit. Is that game in Denver? I want to say
no. Denver's on the road today.
Okay.
No, mark that. The game is in Denver. Take that back. Beep.
All right. So
we'll back that one up.
Back it up. So, and I know Todd's watching because he's commenting in the Facebook chat. Todd, I like your Broncos today at home against the Detroit Lions. I think Denver is starting to. Play with some not necessarily confidence, but I think there's things that I think they were trying to figure out.
Absolutely.
Season, and now they got it figured out. Unfortunately, it's too late in the season to make a playoff push or anything like that. But I think Denver, Bronco fans have something to look forward to next year.
I agree. I mean, Locke is a lock for that team next year. He's going to be the quarterback, and so saves John Elway's job one more year. Some people are wondering how that's even going on, but listen, Locke is the true thing. He's that atypical pocket passing quarterback that I think they'll prove, not necessarily prove the Lamar Jackson of the world wrong or whatever it may be, but he's really good.
Here's the other thing, real quick. Wait, 5 5-year starter at Missouri. That's huge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 5 years. See, I thought he was 4. I didn't realize they redshirted him.
Fifth year at Missouri. Yep.
Wow. His fifth year of Villanova. That's crazy. You don't even see that anymore. You see quarterbacks, fleeing and going there. So yeah, more experience up underneath it. That there's something to argue about later on. Is it better coming out or staying there? We might use Drew Lock as an example in that one as we move on to that one. So next game that's up on there is the Oakland Raiders, as they will be taking on the Chargers in LA. God, I don't even know how to pick in this one. I listen, I didn't fall for the Oakland Raiders being a good team and continuing being a good team. I looked at the Oakland Raiders when I was picking them. If you remember, I went on a 3-week spree with them, and they won all 3 of them. And it's more than the fact I felt that they were a good football team up of who they were playing. The Chargers are god awful. That's because you can sit there and blame this on Phillip Rivers all day long, and you'd have a point. You'd have something to say about that. But really, are you giving Phillip Rivers a lot to do in order to bring a victory home? That's another thing when I'm looking at it. Yeah, he's trying to force the ball. He's trying to make plays. He's trying to, instead of something that is running naturally. Now, will he be the quarterback of this football team next year? I don't know. Okay, for me to foresee that, I think is crazy. I don't know if we're going to get the same Phillip Rivers. Okay, he's thrown a lot of interceptions. Whether he'll be in LA next year is going to be the big question as far as the future of that is concerned. Because let's be honest, when you're talking about a future of a football team, you're not talking wide receivers. You're not even talking the best defensive players. You're talking about the quarterback position. And the San Diego Eagles has had the stability at the quarterback for many many years. So they need to go out and get that kind of guy in order for them to remain what they are. Will that be in free agency? Will that be a rookie? That's going to be the big question for this franchise moving forward. But in this game, I'm just taking the home team. I don't like either one of these teams, and more so. And probably I should pick Oakland. They seem to be playing better. They got the better quarterback in Derek Carr. But guess what? That relationship is what I thought was getting along really good has really reared its ugly face in the last 3 weeks for the Oakland Raiders, and they haven't been playing good at the quarterback position as well either. So it's just a shot in the dark. I'm taking Chargers just because they're home.
Well, real quick, Sonny, I think the only person that's going to decide if Phillip Rivers is the quarterback in LA next year is Phillip Rivers himself.
I agree.
If he wants to stay with the Chargers, he wants to be in LA, the team will take him back. Because I think that's how much loyalty that they have to him. I mean,
going to your point, Cuervo, who are they going to get? Are they going to go rookie? They've got a good team. They have a good look at them play last year. They played well last year. Okay, so going from last year to this year has been a complete disaster. But that don't mean that the ship is completely sunk. You got to be able to bring it back up a little bit. That means a couple of moves up on the defensive side of the ball, the full offense and full running through the whole season instead of the Melvin Gordon hangout, and also Melvin Gordon with his head in the game, because even though that guy hasn't signed still yet. Guys, he still hasn't signed anything. He hasn't got his money, so he's got to get his mind back in the game before he's going to get that money. And whether or not that's going to be with the Chargers or not, or whether he's a head case or not, for that football team and bringing them down, I don't know. But all you got to do is look at the season and go, what was the deciding factor? What was not there? That wasn't. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't Melvin Gordon for the first 6 weeks of this football season, and that really put them in a tailspin before they even got started.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that kind of started the tailspin, as you said, of the Chargers this year. The whole Melvin Gordon situation, and I mean, they didn't have Derwin James the first 10 games of the season. So I mean, there were things that were going on within the organization that kind of brought this team down. I don't think it was enough to have the season that they're having. I mean, yeah, everybody goes through adversity throughout the year. Everybody goes through some sort of injuries, or there's always issues with every organization. Even the New England Patriots, as perfect as everybody thinks they are, they have problems internally. I mean, they do. So I think that it's just the way to handle this year in particular is very uncharger-like. I don't know how
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, it was a different feel to how the Chargers normally conduct business, and they normally are able to overcome those things. But this year was, for some reason, Sonny, it was different. And not to mention, Phillip Rivers is just playing terrible. He's playing awful right now. I mean, and I don't know if he's showing his age or if there's something else, underlining that maybe we don't know about in the public, because we all know that happens every year. There's always some story that comes out. Phillip Rivers was playing with a broken ankle all season, or something crazy is gonna, it's gonna justify why he had such a bad season, why the Chargers played so bad this year. Or something about the head coach, the way he was treating the players. I don't know, something. It would not surprise me if something came out to where it justifies why the Chargers had such a bad year. But at the end of the day,
we find that out 2 to 3 weeks after the season's over and after Black Monday and everything else. Which, by the way, listen. But on Monday, the day after week 17, I don't care what it takes. Sonny Clark is going to be on air. What time that's going to be, that part I don't know. We'll probably have some firings on week 17. That always happens where 1 or 2 teams go ahead and just check it out and be done. And we have something to talk about either early in the morning or whenever we're going to get on air and talk about.
We'll have to talk, Sonny, because I have to be there with you. I have to.
Yeah. So, by the way, what's your schedule? So let's figure it out. What's your schedule on Black Monday? The Monday after next week. What's your schedule?
So it actually is a work day for me. However, normally during the holiday season, we're like on, I don't want to say half days, but we get off pretty early.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll shoot for 3:00 my time, which would be 1:00 your time. Maybe you'll be off by that time. And if we'll make an adjustment, if we need to make an adjustment, we will. Go buy an Ethernet cord. We'll get you all squared away. But so that being said, now make sure it's long enough to get from your modem to your computer. That being said, that takes us into the next game. We're both on the Denver Broncos. Another games that don't have a lot to talk about, Seattle and Arizona. The only thing that we need to talk about as far as that's concerned is if Seattle gets the victory. San Francisco already won yesterday, which they kind of pulled ahead in that division because of the win and the winning percentage. But if Seattle beats the Arizona Cardinals, which they should at home, they'll put them back into the first place position, and there's going to be a battle on one of those teams going to be the wild card. That leaves Minnesota with yesterday with the Rams losing, the Rams are out of it. Minnesota has wrapped up that thing regardless how that thing works out. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. On Sunday morning, the Seattle Seahawks take on the Arizona Cardinals. I don't see a lot in this game that you can look at it as far as what's going to happen. They lose Josh Gordon because of the PED things. They were a great big story. Listen, 6 times. And I've said this before. I'll say it again, but I said it a little bit differently. The NFL hurt this young man. I'm telling you right now, it's the reason why he is still a person who is in the situation that he is in today. And the reason why is they are putting money in his pocket. And they're putting a lot of money in his pocket. And guess what? Lots of money in his pocket means that he goes out and does what he does. And that the NFL actually, in reality, by giving him as many chances as they had, put him in a position where he's still in the same boat. Why? He hasn't hit rock bottom. And whatever you say about all that kind of stuff is a player or a person needs to hit rock bottom. Obviously, Josh Gordon hadn't hit that yet. The reason being is he had money in his pocket. And as soon as all that's gone away and he can actually attack it the right way is the only time when he's going to get better. So that's the situation with him. The good thing for him, and I'm going to check on it, I think he does qualify for a pension through the NFL because of the many times that he's come by. I think he's played enough years and or games in order to get the pension for the rest of his life. The question will be,
No, I'm saying if he writes it, he shouldn't get it. The NFL should find a way to be able to not give him a pension.
Well, and I don't know if that's good, better. And the pension is obviously not the amount of money he would be able to be making when he was playing, but it puts money in his pocket, and that money could be that money could be the death of that young man. I'm telling you right now, this is a guy that's off in left field, and you're not going to get him back until he hits that bottom. But if I'm not mistaken, Cuervo, I'll let you jump in. They don't qualify for their pensions immediately. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 7 years before they can get money on pension. So within that 7 years after full retirement and being done with it, he needs to get the help he needs, and then he'll have some pension money that he can probably try to live the rest of his life on. And that's the only thing that you can hope for this young man. I don't want to talk about his talent anymore because guess what? He's not out on the football field enough to show the talent that he has. So it's really irrelevant how good he is if he can't stay on the team.
Exactly. And Todd made the comment, if that happened, the Players Association would sue. Fine. Let's go to court, because here's my thing. We can talk about all the legalities all you want. This dude, and I as a fan of the game and co-host of this show, I've defended this guy. I've stuck up for him every single time.
Every single time.
And for him to continue to, I don't even want to use the word disobey. It's disrespect. They've asked this dude time and time again, stay off the freaking grass, dude. And he doesn't want to do it.
6 times.
He doesn't want to do it. 6 times. And he gave the NFL the finger every single time. And now he wants to. And now you want to talk about if he rates the pension or not? Nah, man. Screw you. I'm sorry, but here's my thing. If he legitimately wanted help, he would have gotten it, and he would have bettered himself.
Absolutely.
The guy doesn't want help. He cries wolf every single time. And you know what? You cry wolf enough times, and guess what's going to happen? The wolf's going to come
with
out.
him after the third time, Cuervo. I was done with it, and because it's the same old story. It's same story, different day, different year in reality for him. And again, the guy hasn't played a full season in the NFL ever. And we keep giving the guy breaks, and and whether you believe or not, a guy deserves a second chance or whatever is really irrelevant here. We're on the sixth time. So by me on the third side saying I'm done with this guy, I don't care what the talent he has, it's not going to help him. And I was right. And there's not too many times I get to say that, but the simple fact of the matter is the NFL actually hurt this young man more so than helped him. They should have left him out of football. They should have left him get what he needs to do and get where he needs to do in order for his life to not be screwed up. Cuervo, we're going to hear a story about this guy being in a ditch someday. Okay, later on down the road, he's going to be in a ditch one day, or he's going to be the guy that got busted with the weed from your team. What was his name? Hurd?
Yeah, Sam Hurd.
Yeah,
he was
Sam Hurd. He's going to be another Sam Hurd, but he is going to end up dead. And that's a sad thing. I'm not hoping for it. Okay, no, but if someone told me 3 years down the road that he'd be dead, it wouldn't shock me. Because of the fact. And I think the NFL did this man wrong. And again, before you can get better, you have to hit that rock bottom, because that's an addiction that is so hard to get over that just 6 months, just a year or 2 years or 3 years or 4 years is not enough to say, yeah, I trust this guy not to do it again, because it has such a grasp on a guy like him that it makes it almost impossible to believe that he ever can get over it. And that's the too bad thing about that. But I'm on Seattle to beat Arizona. I don't think Arizona has enough, especially on the road, to take on a team who is really, they want to win the division. And not only that, I mean, they get an opportunity to put themselves, if they win out, they can buy themselves a first round bye in the playoffs. And that's very important for this football team, because they lost a football player as well. I forget who it was, besides obviously Josh Gordon besides him. They lost an offensive player to injury, and they're hoping they're getting him back before then. So that's a huge thing, because it's on the offensive line. That's the thing that's going to have to protect your quarterback in order for you to be successful. So a week of healing would be really good for Seattle going into the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Last thing I'll say about Josh Gordon, Sonny, is that you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped.
That's true.
And for him to continue to say that he needs help, I just think he wants attention. He doesn't want help. He just wants attention. And he's going to get it, not in a very good way, but he's going to get it. And I think he's done in the NFL.
It's not the NFL, really. If he is a classic example, okay, is if you don't follow the rules, they don't care about him. He is that classic example. 6 times, guys. 6. It's not once, not twice. I'm doing the LeBron here. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I mean, come on. And what it sends, the message the NFL sent by letting this guy come back time and time and time again. They don't care. They don't care. You can go do whatever you want, but yeah, we'll bring you back eventually. And that's not a good thing for them to defend. If they're going to defend against it and say, no, I don't care what's legal out there. Okay. This is a drug that is not supposed to be used within our league. We make the rules. I don't care what the NFL, association says. You're not doing this. Okay, sooner or later you get fired from a job doing shit that you're not supposed to be doing from time to time or all the time. Okay, who knows? I may find myself on the end of that at U-Haul, because there's certain things I don't agree and I won't do. But sooner or later they might get sick enough of Sonny Clark enough to where they say, well, you know what, Sonny, we've told you that's not once, twice, or 3 times. We've told you many times. So no thanks, but no thanks. And that's what the NFL should have done with Josh Gordon. Yeah, thanks, but hey, no thanks. And not only that, it doesn't make you look good. I mean, it really, as an NFL football team, doesn't make you look good. Doesn't make you look like, well, we gave this guy a second chance. Well, what if you're the team that gave him the fourth, fifth, and sixth time? You just look stupid. You look like you bring in a bunch of drug addicts to play football, and that's what it. Look, hey, listen, that's what I think, and I don't think I'm very far away from a fan thinking. Obviously, we do this show, okay, but we're fans of this game, and that's what fans look at. They let the drug addicts come play on this football team, and that's the reason why the people who are associated with murders or rape or whatever the case may be, the NFL has to down hard on them, and the fact that they don't come down hard on them is the reason why you get guys back into this league that have no business in it.
Right, and that's the whole point. Is just
three more games, Square. Three more games, and one of them is your team. One of them is your team wearing that Bears jersey. They get Kansas City in Kansas City, or in Chicago, I mean. So at least that's the good thing got going on there. You get to play spoiler. Do they got what it takes to play spoiler? Because Kansas City is really they got to win. First of all, they got the division wrap. They want to go ahead and try to get that first week bye as well, along with the New England. They just won theirs, but they want that first round bye in the AFC. A victory here helps them in that big time, and that's one of the reasons why when I look at this game, people say, well, Kansas City doesn't have anything to play for. No, they want that. There's a football team that needs a week off. That's Kansas City Chiefs, and so I think you're going to get a full amount of what the Chiefs got coming at you. That's why I'm going Kansas City. I hate to pick against the Bears, but I don't think the Bears have enough to get past this football team per se.
Sonny, I'm going to do it.
I know this hurts your feelings. I know it does. I mean, it's hard to use this and instead of this when you're talking about your team. I get it. I 100% get it. I do it every week with the Jaguars.
Yep. So I don't want to, but damn it, I have no choice. Even though I'm rocking my Santa hat and I'm rocking my Khalil Mack jersey, Sonny, the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, it hurts so bad.
It's unfortunate. I'd like to see the Bears play spoiler. I mean, really good and in the season on what you could possibly get next year. Obviously, with the question marks at the quarterback position is really the only question mark, Cuervo. I mean, you think about it. Think about the Chicago Bears. You're not talking defense. You'll be able to grab up a guy here and there to help the defense a little bit more. Okay, the gaping hole is the quarterback position and the decision that you have to make about that gaping hole. Are you going to go ahead and get stitches for it and go ahead and keep it? Or are you going to go ahead and just cut off the arm and get a new one and see what you can do? I don't know what the Bears need to do. I don't know what the answer is to do, but I'm telling you right now, and Todd just said it right before I looked down. I was about ready to say the Kansas City Chiefs defense is nothing to slouch at. They're pretty damn good too. And I think they should be able to stop the Chicago Bears today.
Well, there's the other thing too, it hurts. It hurt when you guys were talking about it, but I couldn't disagree.
Yeah, that's
about Pittsburgh's defense being better than the Bears. The Bears' defense has been getting chewed up.
Oh yeah,
these past.
Well,
few weeks.
why is that? Why is that, Cuervo?
Well, I mean, you've got some injuries, but they just haven't been playing in sync like they normally have.
Yeah.
And
most of it's being out on the football field forever because their offense can't generate any kind of time. And you look, I bet, and I don't know this. This is off the top of my head, Cuervo. If you go look at time of possession for the Chicago Bears, they're desperately behind. They're desperately behind their opponents each and every week. So, that'll drag any defense down, regardless how good they are.
Well, and here's the other thing too, and this is very uncharacteristic of any Chicago Bears defense. They're having a lot of trouble stopping the run. And I don't know the numbers, but I look at the game, I watch, and they've been having a lot of trouble stopping the run. And it irks me because if there's anything I want the Bears to do well on defense, it's stop the run. Make teams one-dimensional and force them to do things that maybe they're not used to doing.
Yep.
Kansas City Chiefs, they're pretty balanced, but I think they're a little bit more favored towards the passing game just because of the spread type offense that they run with Mahomes and you know, I'm really sitting here thinking about who the hell is going to stop Tyreek Hill, and it's got me scared. It really does. It's got me scared. So
yeah, who's going to stop him? I mean, who got that? The problem with Tyreek Hill is it's not the talent part, okay?
Speed.
It's speed, and when you can't keep up with him, all he has to do is be able to catch the ball. And he put a move on some dude, and it looked like, and this was in the highlights film 2 weeks ago. He didn't do anything special on the move. It was just a quick out, and no one was within 5 yards from him. You leave that open 5 yards, Tyreek Hill, say la vie, dude. The game is over. He's going to get into the end zone. And the problem is that it's not the fact that he's open. Okay, you might be able to close down on it. It's after he gets the ball in his head, which, by the way, Tyreek Hill is very good at. One of the things that I hate to say about him because I don't like him. I don't like him because of personally, and we don't need to get into that. But after he gets that ball, this is the guy that concentrates the ball into his hands, and then what he does after the ball, it's about the yakety yak. You can't stop this guy. If he's got 1 yard on you, he's got 10. Forget about it. Just say la vie, speed alone. And most defensive players converge up on a player while the ball's in the air. And if he gets 1 yard on you, that's it. It's not enough. You're being behind on a regular wide receiver position or running back position, whatever the case may be, is not enough with Tyreek Hill. He's just that fast. And once it's in his hands, he'll outrun you.
And that's why his nickname and his Twitter name is the Cheetah, because he's runs like a cheetah. He's fast.
Exactly. So, interestingly enough, it's going to be one of those things as far as where they're going to be next year. Will Tyreek Hill be part of that football team? They need to keep him, but we also get to that. 3 more games and good ones. I say the best for last, but I want to go to Monday Night Football first, okay? Monday Night Football has a lot to do with your division of football in the NFC North, as the Green Bay Packers are going to be on the road taking on Minnesota. And not only that, when you take a look at the standings as far as that is concerned, it's a big, big game because of the fact that Minnesota can figure out a way to win on Monday Night Football. It goes to Week 17 for that division, and the other team is going to be the wild card if Minnesota can get this victory here today. And let me tell you something, if this game is not in Green Bay, but Minnesota is not a great home football team, Coreyville. If I'm not mistaken, I'll look it up as we talk about this. Minnesota is not a great home football field, football team. So that hurts them, at least in my mind. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. I may be wrong, but that being said, they're a victim of their quarterback, Cuervo. I mean, and if Kirk Cousins plays well, they got a good chance of winning. If he sucks it up, they're gonna give this one up in the final minutes to Aaron Rodgers, and I don't think that's anything shocking or anything, Cuervo.
Well, I think the bigger concern for the Vikings is, Dalvin Cook is already listed as being out.
Yeah, that's why I forgot about that.
Yeah, so that hurts. Now, Adam Thielen is back to being 100%, which is very good for them. But are they going to have that balance that they need to be able to keep Green Bay's defense guessing in that game tomorrow night? That's going to be the question for me. And if the Vikings become one-dimensional and they rely too much on Cousins because Dalvin Cook is out, then the Vikings could be in trouble.
So just to let you know, they're 6-0 at home. So, I'm wrong about. I'm wrong about that. That being said, last 2 weeks though, they get Green Bay. They get Green Bay at home. Yeah, obviously. And then in the last week, they get your Chicago Bears in Minnesota as well. So the schedule vies out for them in reality towards the end of the season, especially if they get the win against Green Bay. Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, let me just flip the page here. Green Bay's at Detroit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sonny.
Yeah, they get Detroit week 17 for the Green Bay Packers. So this is pretty much for the marbles right here as far as the AFC North is concerned.
Yeah, I mean, this game is going to, separate the two as far as seeding in the playoffs is concerned and all that stuff. But, see if they can keep that undefeated record at home on Monday Night Football. Let me tell you, that's what I'm going for. Skull.
I don't know. God, I want to pick the Minnesota Vikings, but Delvin Cook not being in the lineup is a big loss for this football team. My God. You can say whatever you want about the Green Bay Packers, and here's the thing. With Delvin Cook in the lineup, I think you get less of a chance of Aaron Rodgers coming back and winning a football game. I mean, because he's that valuable to the offense of the Minnesota Vikings. Never mind the fact that you got Kirk Cousins who can't be consistent to save his life. Green Bay wants this game. They want to be able to go ahead and secure a home field game. And as far as the standings are concerned, that's why I got to pull up here. The standings as far as where they will be. I moved it off. So Green Bay right now is at 11 wins. Minnesota is at 10. So they would both equal out to 11 going into the final week, figuring out both teams would end up winning their last week, depending on who they're playing, obviously. But sure. Now my internet doesn't want to pull up the standings so I can figure out who's the other team. I know what it is. It's Seattle and San Francisco up on the other side. Those guys have got all those wins going on. There it is. They're finally pulled up on me. So you got that, and then you got New Orleans that you're battling as well to try to bring that one home. They're 11-3 as well. There is something to play for the Green Bay Packers if they want to try to get that bye as far as the NFC is concerned. So, because it's definitely not coming out of the NFC East, the North, it's going to come from Green Bay. It's going to come from Minnesota, New Orleans, San Francisco. If they win one more, they're going to wrap up one of those, Cuervo. They'll be right now. They're 12-3 after taking and getting the victory by the hair of their chinny chin yesterday. But Seattle's all going to be in that boat. It'll be very interesting. So if they want, and you want to talk about a team that needs first round bye, that's the Green Bay Packers, Cuervo. Because listen, that football team benefits from rest. That team benefits from rest. So you say whatever you want, but that first round bye is big for them, I think. So I don't like the fact that Delvin's not in it. I wrote down originally I was taking Minnesota, but when I found out about Delvin Cook a couple of days, quite possibly not being in, I think that's a big thing. You take a weapon away from Kirk Cousins, that means you got to put it on his shoulders to win. I don't see it happening, not with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback. That's why I'm going Green Bay.
What am I going to do with you, Sonny Clark?
I know you don't want to do it too, but you're thinking about taking them. That's why you're hesitant, because it hurts your feelings. So you're going Minnesota, no Delvin Cook. So
Minnesota with no Delvin Cook. Absolutely. Here's the reason why. Okay. And here's the reason why. We haven't talked about it yet. You're breaking up, Sonny. Say that again.
Will that point change? Will the point you're going to make change my pick?
Possibly.
Okay, so what's up?
Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers specifically, has issues or has trouble with teams that have shut down corners because they take Davante Adams away from him. Okay?
Yes.
I believe Minnesota has one in Mike Hughes, not Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes is not playing well this year.
No.
He's scaled back a little bit. All right, he was a Pro Bowl corner. No, not so much. He's borderline. Mike Hughes is the guy in Minnesota now. He's going to have Davante Adams as his assignment tomorrow, and he's going to shut that man down, Sonny. And
How
Aaron
many,
Rodgers ain't
how
gonna know
many
what to do.
interceptions is Kirk Cousins going to be able to get away with? That's my only worry.
He's not going to throw
Listen,
any. He's not going to throw any. He's not going to throw any tomorrow.
I hope for your sake, as far as the pick is concerned. I want Minnesota to be in the Super Bowl, and the main reason why is that's who I want. I don't think they're going to get there, but it'll prove the fact that defenses you've got a good defense to get there. And the reason why I would like to see it is because the debate of the Kirk Cousins, whether or not he can get him to the Super Bowl, is it just gives us something to talk about for 3 weeks. The simple fact of the matter is we got to talk about it in the final playoff game. Then if they make the Super Bowl, we got a week to talk about Kirk Cousins in the Super Bowl. And then we get to pile on at the end of the year after he fails miserably and gets beat by the New England Patriots, and they win their 7th ring. See, that's what the mind is. And then I can just prove that yet again, everybody talking about Tom Brady losing a step, going to a different football team. You guys can get out of your freaking heads. That's the stupidest thing I've heard. I cannot believe people are even falling for it or talking about it. Listen, Tom Brady's going nowhere, and if he goes anywhere, it's into retirement. He doesn't need to go to a different football team to prove anything. And if he's under that impression or feels like he has to, wherever, he's an idiot. Okay, he's an idiot, and he's going to fall into Joe Montana and go to the Kansas City Chiefs or another team like he did and not be able to prove it, and he doesn't need to do it. It would be the biggest mistake of his career to go to a different football team.
That reminds me of something, and I know you're not a big fan of his, but I saw it on Facebook, and I had to tell you about this. By the way, I have one last parting shot before we get off air today. And I want to address something with the NFL because shame on them. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Shame on them. What, say that again, Sonny?
Big surprise, right? The NFL does something wrong again. Oh, I can't do that. Yeah, right. Here, okay. I'll do the wink.
Yeah, right. Okay. Colin Cowherd. Again, I know you're not a big fan of his.
Not a great big fan.
But he did a segment on one of his shows. It was sometime this past week or two. About if Tom Brady left New England, what team would he go to? Did you see this?
I did not.
You're not going to believe who he said. So he started eliminating teams based off of, whether, they have elite defenses, they have elite offensive lines, they have elite wide receivers, and this and that. Came down to 4 teams. Came down to the Dallas Cowboys, my Chicago Bears. I was like, oh my God. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers, and who was that last team? Oh, for God's sakes, I can't remember.
Miami?
No, God, no. They were
they got that eliminated. The wide receiver. So.
Man, I'm trying to remember who it was now. That was the 4th team. So then he started talking about more things. Sonny, and your locals are going to love this. He said the Dallas Cowboys would be the team that Tom Brady goes to if he left New England. I said no chance. Absolutely no chance.
I don't see it because I see it. Listen, as great as Tom Brady is, Dak Prescott's 20 years younger. They're not going to do it. They wouldn't even do it for PR. You want to talk about a marketing genius? Okay, that's Jerry Jones. He would market that to where you wouldn't be able to stop it. But at the same time, there's no need to do that. That's another thing, Cuervo. This is a football team that doesn't need a Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady is maybe a quarterback coach. Maybe they can figure out how to push that and get it to go. But at the same time, I don't see it. So, but 2 more teams, and we're going to go over a little bit. That's just what we do. That's just how great we are. That being said, looking at this whole situation, and by the way, locks here: Minnesota over Green Bay, according to Tarvin. And what was the other one? It disappeared before what it is. Raiders getting skull drug, and that won't surprise me. Yeah, the Raiders getting skull drug. We are, by the Chargers. Wouldn't that be great?
That game? I don't think I gave you my pick.
I thought you said Chargers. I wrote it down. I didn't. But do you want Oakland?
Oh,
okay, I got to change that because it sounded like you were going to pick them. So I made the change to the Oakland Raiders. So, all right. So, Minnesota skull dragging the Green Bay Packers. I don't think now we're locked on that one. Yeah, there you go. Now, New Orleans Saints and the Tennessee Titans at Tennessee. Probably one of the best games of the day.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely. Both teams have something to play for. New Orleans have something to play for. They want to wrap up. They want to wrap up home field advantage. They want to go ahead. They get it. That's going to be huge for them. Tennessee is trying for that wild card against Pittsburgh. Okay, so they at least need to get the victory because I got Pittsburgh beating the Jets. I don't think anybody thinks too much differently. It's probably going to end up going that way. That having been said, Cuervo, of course, that's the name of this show. Tennessee in a must-win game at home. I like them. I like them a lot. And not only that, I like them a lot. Because guess what? New Orleans can still do the same thing next week. So that's one of the things. So depending on the sense of urgency that the Saints will have going into this game to try to wrap that up, it might not be there. Tennessee Titans, it's all about this week because the way that it works. This, if I'm not mistaken, this is an afternoon. No, it's a morning game. So they'll be playing at the same time that Pittsburgh is a morning or afternoon game, Cuervo?
They're a morning game.
Pittsburgh's a morning. So they'll be looking at the scoreboard. Scoreboard will be all over. There'll be scoreboard watching. And I don't know. I just got a feeling about the Tennessee Titans. Listen, I'm not an idiot. Okay, or let me rephrase that. I am an idiot, but I'm not that far gone to know who's the better football team is. Okay, it's the Saints. Okay, but just as much when the Tennessee Titans needed that victory against the Patriots last year at home, they got that damn thing and they needed it. I'm thinking it's there. I know the Saints are the better football team, Cuervo. I'm going Tennessee, not because they're the better football team. They are at home. They are magical at home in a must-win situation. That's it, and that's the only reason why I have Tennessee, because my mindset says New Orleans should win this game, and I would be with about 80%, maybe even more, 90% of what people are picking. I just don't have it. It's not the fact that I don't have trust in the Saints. It's just more in the fact that they got that mystic thing going on over there in Tennessee that they win games they have no business winning. This would be one of them.
No, I totally get what you're saying, Sonny, because, again, we talked about this earlier. I think the Saints feel like they're in a position where they it's not a need to win game today, just because I think they have their spot locked in already.
They got the division. They're trying for that home field advantage. The first round of the playoffs. Huh?
It's not going to happen. They're not going to get a bye week.
That's what they're playing for. That's all I'm saying. Whether or not they get it, I just don't think they are too. And you want to know what? You want to know what else I think? And this stupid has nothing to do with the game. It's the fact they made such a huge deal over that LA Rams thing. And the football gods did not shine on them when there was an obvious pass interference like 3 weeks ago, and that didn't go against them. They didn't get that one out of all of them they should have got. That was one of them that they should have got because it was clear of interference, and they didn't get it. I'm just saying, the football gods are not going to be looking down on them. That whole thing is not good. So if you want to talk karma, bring the karma. This is a game that maybe they should be able to lock it up. That would be. I don't think that's a good idea for the Saints not have the bye. I think they need a bye. I think the Saints need a bye. It should be interesting. I'm going Tennessee. Are you on the reach with me? Because let's be honest, this is a reach, Cuervo. You and I both know the Saints are a better football team, but not in this case. It's all about what is going on in the game today, more so than who's better. That's the reason why.
I think we have that gut feeling, Sonny, that this is going to be not necessarily a trap game, but just a game that New Orleans doesn't really care about winning. Yeah. It's just really that simple. I don't think they care about winning this game today.
Well, they'll say they are. They'll be saying they're all over this one. Oh, we got. They'll say it all day long. Whether or not to show up on the football field will be a different story. Definitely.
Yeah, but there's something about this game. I have the same gut feeling that you have. I just think the Saints are going to lay an egg today, and they're going to wind up losing it on the road. And Todd made a comment too. New Orleans has been known to lose on the road versus good home teams, and this just has that feeling. This has that feeling. You get that certain vibe, that certain gut feeling about certain games. This is, I think, for us, Sonny, even to include Todd, this is that game.
Well, I'll tell you something else, because they will be scoreboard watching in this one. If Pittsburgh starts running up the score on the Jets, that could change the whole outlook on what's going to end up happening as well. How they react to that scoreboard watching is going to be the big story.
The good teams, they worry about what they're doing. They don't scoreboard watch. They don't worry about what anyone else is doing.
I don't believe that. I believe that to a certain extent, Cuervo. I don't believe it. I don't believe it in this case anyway.
Let me tell you, if I was head coach, I'd tell them don't. I would even go as far as asking the stadium personnel, don't even show the scores of the other games in the stadium.
I wonder how much pull they actually have in that, and if they'd actually do it. I don't know.
And if you want to find out, people in the crowd or whatever, you look on your damn phone. Everyone's got a smartphone nowadays.
Yeah. Well, and they'll figure it out. They'll get the message to them where they're at. I mean, I know that's going to end up happening. That's why I don't think there's any need to do it. If they want to get it, they're going to get it. But how they react to it's going to be the big story, because Pittsburgh's going to skull drag the Jets. Now that's the lock of the week. Okay, so in reality, so if you want a lock, there's your lock. The question is will Tennessee respond in the correct way? If they lose today, it's Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's in the playoffs. That's the way it isn't, but pretty much is that way. So it should be interesting. Go ahead.
I have another gut feeling. I'm going to change my pick. I'm taking the Jets. Taking the Jets.
Okay. I see what you're doing. Makes sense.
And Bryce is not going to like it.
I'm going to text him after the show that Cuervo changed his pick to the Jets, and I can't wait to hear his response. I'm going to text him after the show. So, and that leads it. Okay.
Le'Veon Bell revenge.
Le'Veon Bell revenge. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm staying with the Steelers. That takes us to the big game. Okay, I saved it for the last, obviously, with my locals here and everything else. As far as the football team is concerned, the Dallas Cowboys, they got the Philadelphia Eagles. And Dallas wins, they wrap it up. Philly wins, it goes to week 17, which is even Tarvin said this, the dumb luck that the Dallas Cowboys had, Philadelphia losing to Miami. That game can come back and haunt the Philadelphia Eagles. Losing that game in Miami is, if that's not got you punch drunk, hung over for the season, that's one that's going to stay right up in there. It won't go away because that's where they had the opportunity to prove that they had what it takes in the NFC East to dominate. The problem is they can't dominate. The problem is Carson Wentz is not right now the consistent quarterback that everybody expects him to be. And that's one of the huge problems when you go into this game, because you need a Carson Wentz to be that guy. Now, we're not seeing it. Okay. We talked about this earlier in the season, and one of the lines where it's not when he gets hurt, or it's not if he gets hurt, it's when. Well, he done defied that odds, although he went out in the game and he has come back. As far as the injury is concerned, he isn't what we expected, and he hasn't been the same since he went out on that injury where he went out in the first half and came back in the second. It's been different. Okay, he hasn't been up to what we've seen in the first 7 to 8, or actually in the first 9 weeks of the season. When he went out for that half because of that injury, he hasn't been the same since. So there's something more than what they are actually dishing on the injury list. So I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, if they pay attention to the sport, they know that's what's going on. The question is will Carson Wentz be able to get up over the hump to beat the Dallas Cowboys? Now, the other side of that, you got Dak Prescott with a problem with his throwing thumb and shoulder injury. So you got that up on top of it. But here's the thing. I don't know if they need to do that. But the problem is that when they find success, the Dallas Cowboys don't know how to maintain it. And what I'm talking about is running the football. This team, once they start running the football, you can't stop them. But here's the thing: the Dallas Cowboys have a way of going away for it for no damn reason, and that's what you get. Now, this game is in Philadelphia. If this game was at home, I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys. But listen, I have been trying to find all the reasons to pick the Dallas Cowboys, and all the ones that keep bringing up the reasons why. It's the other side that's there. I think Carson Wentz might be a little bit more healthy. I think the Eagles are at home. I think, but what hurts me, and the thing that's slowing me down on picking the Eagles, there's no wide receivers on this football team. None. Zero. And they're doing it with the tight end. And that's just, listen, the Dallas Cowboys may not be a great football team, but they know where that ball's going. And all you got to do is you got to do one thing, is you have to defend that one guy. And if the Dallas Cowboys can figure out how to defend that one guy, all right, from catching the football. I'm talking about Zach Ertz, by the way, if anybody doesn't know who I'm talking about. If they figure out how to stop Zach Ertz, they win the football game. I just don't know if they can do it, Cuervo. That's one of the things. Zach Ertz gets open when you wouldn't think they were. And the problem with the Dallas Cowboy defense is that they can't recognize anything. I mean, it could be a Mack truck heading their way, and they wouldn't know how to get out of the damn way, or how to jump on it and stop it. I mean, there's just something about the Dallas Cowboy defense I don't trust. It's not the offense, even though that's a gaping hole, by the way. It's more when I look at the Dallas Cowboys is, can they get it done defensively? And guess what? If they get one turnover or two turnovers, it's sure to happen. The Dallas Cowboys will turn this ball over 2 times in this game. And how they react on those turnovers is going to be the difference in this game, I think. And that's the reason why I'm on Philadelphia today. It's not because I don't want to pay. I want the Cowboys to win. You want to talk about, we have something to talk about through the playoffs, the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that'd be great. But here's the thing. A great story as well. Philadelphia, after they get rid of their guy in Nick Foles, they were able to get back into the playoffs. There's a lot of great stories to talk about it. But the Dallas Cowboy defense, I don't think is ready for this game. You want to talk about ready for prime time, Cuervo? That's what this game is, and it's not even in prime time. This is for the playoffs, and I don't know if they're going to get the job done. Listen, I'm not still saying they won't make the playoffs. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I mean, if this game was in Dallas, I would definitely pick the Cowboys. But, I don't necessarily agree, Sonny, that Zach Ertz is the only guy that Carson Wentz can go to. Look, Miles Sanders, the running back, the rookie, has been. He's
not a wide receiver. That's the thing. They might be able to get him on, out of the backfield, third downs and things like that, and that could be the difference in the game. But as far as a target to throw to on a regular basis, that's not him. That's Zach Ertz.
No, you're right. That in that aspect, you're right. Atlanta just scored. Devontae Freeman runs it in. But
I didn't pick him.
But hell of a play call by Dirk Cotter.
There you go.
In the NFL.
Yeah, and he'll continue on until halfway through the fourth quarter, and he'll just say, "Here, guys, you need the defense of the other team. Come over here. Here's my offensive plays. You know exactly what's coming your way." And that'll happen at about the 8-minute mark of the fourth quarter, and they'll give up yet another game in the fourth quarter, which is what they're traditionally used to doing. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Sonny. I just think Dallas traditionally they don't play very well in Philly. And I know that sounds like a dumb reason to pick the Eagles.
No, that's a good reason.
But that's the facts.
I agree.
Dallas rarely wins in Philly. They just always have trouble when they go there.
Is Philly a good team, Cuervo?
When they're healthy, yes. That's been the big problem with them, is just they haven't been healthy this season.
Think about
Especially
that.
at wide receiver.
Think about that, Cuervo. Dallas don't win good against good football teams. Okay, so if you want to consider Philadelphia good, okay, they, like you said, they've gone through injuries. They have no wide receivers. For what they're doing with what they got, I think is actually pretty good. Okay, and that's what scares me about the Dallas Cowboys. They don't do good against teams that are good, and they don't do good against teams that are pretty good based upon personnel. I mean, and they proved that year after year. I posted the other day on my Facebook page. It was the same damn story, different year, about the Dallas Cowboys. And at the time when I posted it, it was about Tony Romo, not Dak Prescott, but it was the same damn thing. And it's not going to be Dak Prescott that's going to lose this game for him today. Okay, it's going to be defense. The defense is going to give up something, or it's special teams in reality, Cuervo, at the same time. That's going to be the difference. And I think when I think about that and how the Dallas Cowboys don't get that job done, it's obviously coaching. That has nothing to do. It's about mentality, and you got to preach the mentality to where it stays up there, and that's coaching. That's all that is. Keeping your head in the game for a full 4 quarters and not give it up at the end, which is a traditional for the Dallas Cowboys as well, giving up games that they shouldn't lose in the 4th quarter, and that's what will end up. I've been thinking about this game all week, Cuervo, because I knew we would come to the last of it. I knew this would be the thing, and it's more than the fact is the Dallas Cowboys don't know how to win a game like this, and that's the reason why they won't do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think Dallas will eventually, in Week 17, they'll get it done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think, Week 17 is going to be the big difference. And guess what? Philly may drop that game. Is it Detroit? No, against the Giants. Philly will probably drop that game in New York. It's because they're not consistent either. So you got 2 inconsistent teams, clashing today. And guess what? You know what's going to happen, Cuervo, is they're going to win the game and make us look stupid. But that's, It is what it is, but that's where we're at. I'm not on the Dallas Cowboys. I've been trying to find the excuse, and I just can't do it.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just again, I look at this game and Dallas doesn't.
What's really in the football team? And I don't know about the injuries. Van Der Esch not in the in the lineup is killing this football team, Cuervo. Not having Van Der Esch in there is almost not have. It's almost like
he's supposed to be back today, though. I think he's supposed to come back.
See, but if it was next week, I would feel good about that. The first week back off on an injury, I don't trust him. It's not like this is the Panther linebacker. Yeah, it's not like he's Kuechly. Kuechly could come off and have success. Van Der Esch is a 2nd-year player. We don't know what kind of player he is after injury because this is the first one. So I don't trust that either. Now, if Van Der Esch was known to come back and play like a badass every single time he comes off of injury, then I'd be all over this. But I think the fact that the Dallas Cowboys haven't had Van Der Esch in the lineup is also another reason why that they can't get the job done, because he knows. And listen, Sean Lee been playing well he's not as great as he was 5 years ago. Okay, Sean Lee was a badass 5 years ago, and he would be the only one that I'd want on the football field as on the defense. You want to talk a quarterback, he's just 2 steps slower, more so than just one or none. But he was doing a good enough job in there, but it's not going to be enough. And it'll be interesting to see who's going to be playing. They'll feel that out too, Cuervo. If Van Der Esch isn't getting the job done, they'll throw Sean Lee back out there in a heartbeat. And if they end up doing that, we kind of know where Van Der Esch really is. If we see Sean Lee out on the football field, we'll know how the injury is with Van Der Esch and whether or not he. And then there's a big question if he'll make it back by Week 17 in order to help him to win, in order to make it into the playoffs. But think about this, Cuervo. Okay, if the Dallas Cowboys lose this football game and they come back and win in Week 17, they'll be a freaking 8-8 football team in the playoffs, and that's pretty damn disgusting. And so that's something that you don't want to see either way, whether it's Philly or whatever the case may be. Now, Philly might have an opportunity to be 9-7 if they win today and next week. They could be 9-7, but Interestingly enough. So, all right, my man, we did it. Next week, week 17, a lot of useless games. You know, we'll probably mull through a lot of them because they're but the games that will be all important, whether they'll be for a week one bye, bringing home, you know, getting the home field or whatever, almost all that's figured out except for one on each side. So we'll figure all that out, and that'll be all done by today. And then we'll do week 17. Then on Monday, we'll do it around 3 o'clock my time, maybe 4. So depending on your schedule, we'll do the Black Monday show. I've been looking actually forward to this one because there's some teams that I think need to make the move, but there will be some that won't. And that'll be
when we do it, Sonny.
Oh God, it's going to be great. Yeah, so good one. So we'll do that. That's going to do it for week number 16 of the NFL. On that being said, again, not to be mistaken with the stupid Facebook page. That being said, from some of my old cohorts when I used to write for the Seattle Seahawks punks, I mean guys, stealing our show name and thinking that that's the way they should do it. Be a little more original, guys. That's all I'm saying. Don't steal it from Sonny Clark because I don't have a lot of original ideas in the first place. And when you steal them, I get offended. So there we go. All right. So that's it from us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's the original. That being said, and you can hear it each and every Sunday with me and sometimes Cuervo in the off season. He's got military duties. We'll fill in his spot since we're going to video. And we'll continue on with the video. I got most of it figured out. I'll do the sound effects because I moved with my new background. I couldn't get the sound effects. What do you think of the background? Which one do you like better? This one or the vague one with the blinds in the back? Which one's better?
I think I like this one better, Sonny.
I think I do too. So I'll stay right here. And I don't need a lot of space, so it's just set up on a little table, and I'll break it on down. So that's going to do it for us in a week. So anything happening that quick besides Atlanta scoring? Who else has scored that you're looking at?
Tennessee just scored. The Jets have scored. They're up on the Steelers. So Atlanta's actually up 14-0 now.
Wow, really? You're all right.
They're
baby. Fourth quarter, baby. Look out for it. We'll find out that. Hey, wouldn't that be great if they came back and won? We think it's going to happen. That'd be just great. It just proved my point again on who he is. So watch out. About the 8th minute in the fourth quarter, watch that game. We'll find out how good. Yep, we'll do it. All right, so that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Everybody enjoy week 16. We'll be back during the week for, another edition of Just Because I Wanna, and we'll see about some other things and trying to bring everybody up underneath an umbrella. I'm trying to bring back the Tarvin show. So we'll probably try to do it on this as far as video is concerned. We'll work a little bit more. Everybody have a good one. So for Cuervo, I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Richardson, Texas. Look out. SOAR Championship Wrestling presents SOARmania. Thursday, February 13th at the Richardson Civic Center. Bell time is at 7:30. This mania you don't want to miss.